Welcome to Canada. The perfect setting to welcome the world's best triathletes for the T100 in Vancouver.
These girls are putting on a show. Julie Derron blasting by her. Truly the very best endurance athletes in the world.
Well, a very good morning from Vancouver. The T100 is back, and what a setting to return to. We're on the western coast of Canada for the second edition of this stunning race. Expect beautiful coastline, mountain backdrops, and an absolutely stellar field doing battle for the next few hours. We're at the halfway point in the season on the T100. Taylor Knibb taking the win on the Gold Coast. Georgia Taylor-Brown victorious last time out in Spain. And guess who is returning for the first time in 2026? Last year's world champion Kate Waugh back on a T100 start line. How is she going to shake up this world-class field? So a reminder for those of you joining us on the T100, perhaps for the first time, we've got 20 pros at each race, and athletes can compete in a maximum of 5 races across the year, including the grand final in December when we bring the men and the women back together. In the race to Qatar, an athlete's 3 best scores plus the final will count towards their season-long position. It's 35 points for a win, all the way down to 1 point for 20th. And then those points are totted up to crown our next T100 World Champion. And if that wasn't enough, there's a whopping $4.2 million on the line. So the final few athletes are taking their positions. Home hope Paula Findlay stepping out onto the beach. Let's have a listen, shall we, to the reaction for Paula.
Wearing number 4, representing Switzerland. Series runner-up, Julie Derron. Wearing number 1, from Switzerland, the current T100 Race to Qatar Series leader, Imo Simmonds. Wearing number 2 for the United Kingdom and winner of the Pamplona, Spain T100. She is an Olympic gold, silver and bronze medal, Georgia Taylor-Brown. And wearing number 15 from the United Kingdom, the reigning T100 World Champion, Kate Waugh.
How fantastic to see Kate Waugh back on a T100 start line. Georgia Taylor-Brown, as I mentioned, the most recent T100 winner in Spain. I think we're in for an absolutely cracking afternoon here in Vancouver.
Athletes, you are now in the hands of the starter.
So away we go here in Vancouver, and Vicky Holland, Olympic and Commonwealth Games medalist, 2018 world champion. You could make a strong case, couldn't you, for any of these top athletes taking the win here today. This field is absolutely stacked.
Yeah, this is a really, really exciting field, Matt. We've got all 3 podium finishers from our Pamplona race just a few weeks back, and we've also, of course, got the return of Kate Waugh, the 2025 world champion, the long-awaited return for all of us, but I'm sure for her as well, to be back on the start line. And not to mention, against all of those, we've got home favourite in Paula Findlay, so some really exciting talent out there today.
Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting few hours, so strap yourselves in, everyone. This, I think this is going to go right down to the wire as we get our first look off the drone, don't we, of a pier full of supporters, full of age groupers, perhaps taking part in various races across the weekend. They're getting a really good view here. Don't forget, it's 2 1-kilometre laps here of this swim course. They'll basically go out here from the beach. They'll make their way past the pier. They're then going to start to witness and feel the current, which is going to be pushing them towards the pier or towards that, away from the boys. So this is going to become a game, Vicky, isn't it, of just trying to stay as close to those boys as possible, try to be as efficient as possible in that part of the course.
Yeah, so now that they've gone beyond the length of the pier, they're really going to start feeling we call it the current, but it's not really the current, it's actually the tide. So the outgoing tide is what they're facing right now, and it's going to be starting to drag them left as you look at the screen. So they've gone past that first sighting buoy, that first yellow sighting buoy, and from now on, they've got to try and head straight to that red one that we can see, but the temptation is going to be to start drifting left. So they're really going to have to fight that. Just from what we saw when we had that side-on image of them coming past the pier, I could tell that Kate Waugh was pretty much our lead swimmer at that point. Great start from her. Imo Simmonds was the best of the girls who came from the other side of the pontoon. Kate Waugh started in the middle, Imo Simmonds was on the right, and Sarah Perez-Sala on the left. And they're kind of like our benchmarks, our best swimmers, if you like, on course. And they all are coming together only just 100 or so metres into the swim.
And no surprise there to see Sarah Perez-Sala as well. She's in the orange cap,
yeah.
So she's no surprise to see her right at the very front. She's one of the best swimmers that we have on the T100. But yeah, Kate Waugh in the lead as things stand. We've got an interesting kind of section. One swimmer, we can't quite identify from this shot, but one swimmer just out to the right. It might end up being one of the quicker routes, though, if you think about the efficiency, the way they've got to deal with the current or the tide underneath them. Proof will be in the pudding, won't it, when we get to that first buoy?
Yeah, the danger is if you're on the other side, you're going to get pushed against your will. You know, if some of those girls are being dragged by that tide and being swept over to the left, you can't move if you are already on the left of them and you're being pulled the wrong way. So at the moment, it's hard to tell from the angle we've got on camera, but at the moment it seems like they're all doing a pretty good navigational job, and they have all been out there. They all were swimming yesterday. They've had a try. They were out there at the same tide time as today, so that's not the exact same time of day because the tide shifts each day, but they were out there in the same conditions, so they will have had a chance to have a swim and feel what that current feels like, that tide as it drags them across. So they will be used to it by now. And that lone swimmer, I'm pretty sure that's the stroke of Taylor Spivey. So she was the athlete who started right on the far right-hand side of the pontoon. So she was the first swimmer on that side.
And you can tell actually what's going on underneath the water with the currents and the tides, but it's pretty still. The fact that we've got paddleboard lifeguards out there looking, well, they look pretty calm, don't they? On those paddleboards, looks like a lovely Saturday morning.
They make it look easy, but I'm not sure how easy it actually is all the way out there. But they are, you're right, they're making it look like there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
But, no, for me at this point, the big talking point is that Kate Waugh is leading this swim. Now, what a statement of intent, only, 300 metres or so into the race from our defending world champion, who has had such a rotten start to 2026 and just not the way she would have wanted to attack the series this year as a defending champion. She wanted to come out all guns blazing, and she's been dealing with a calf injury since January, and this is the first time she's felt that she's actually able to take to a start line fit and ready and not going to re-injure herself. So yeah, great to see her back out there. And I think the athlete in second place may have been Lena Meisner. It's one of the purple hats, so not one of the athletes that we've, highlighted. That just there going off screen was the green hat, Georgia Taylor-Brown. So she's sitting in about 5th or 6th place at the moment. And there we saw that light blue hat there of Paula Findlay going through.
Yeah, home hope, Paula Findlay. Great to see her on the start line in Canada. She's had a pretty eventful few months, it's fair to say. She's gone long, she's gone the full distance.
Yeah,
and
she's finally taken the plunge,
she's finally taken the plunge, exactly. And yeah, we'll wait to see what sort of shape, what lingering, what's left of her legs perhaps after that. You can see there, can't you? They're just struggling to get around that buoy.
This was what they were finding in the recce,
wow.
apparently, that as they get to these final turn buoys, it's really difficult for them to get round these buoys and to get back on course properly and not get kind of swept away. So they've got to do this twice. And this is where it's really, really important that they can actually have a look up and see what's going on, because it's really easy to just sort of follow the feet in front of you, whereas actually that might not be the right thing to do, and it might mean that you miss a little break, a little gap going in front of you if you're busy following the feet in front, but actually you need to be really, really aware of where you're heading navigationally.
So as the field stretches out and Kate Waugh still firmly at the front, we're going to take a moment on the T100 to recognise that the event is being held in the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish and the Tsleil-Waututh nations, and the PTO and the T100 are grateful for their partnership in allowing us to host the event on their lands.
On behalf of our elders, our youth, gives me a privilege and honor to welcome the PTO T100 Triathlon World Tour to the shared territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
On behalf of the Squamish Nation, I'm proud and empowered to be here to welcome you to the territories, but most importantly, for your experience during your competition. Our spirits are with you and lift you up.
My name is Chief Justin Sky George. My ancestral name is Quitsame. I'm honored to serve as Chief of the Tsleil-Waututh Nation. To all you athletes, thank you for being an inspiration to us all. Your courage, determination, your will is a tribute to who you are as individuals and human beings.
As you experience the competition, let the lands empower you and give you that strength. Best of luck during your time in competition. Osiya.
What a special place this is to go racing, and a unique place, but one that the T100, the PTO, well, we're delighted to be back. Last year was a roaring success, it's fair to say, so brilliant to be back in Vancouver. And we just got another look here. It looks like Kate Waugh has just moved into second spot. I think that's Sarah Perez-Sala in third, and Imo Simmonds there, I think, in fourth as well in that red cap. Of course, we're going to get the numbers, we're going to get the data as soon as they go through the Aussie exit, and we'll be able to put those up on the side of the screen just to understand the gaps. But Vicky, it's starting to spread out, or the field's starting to move apart, and the stronger swimmers at the front here are starting to take the initiative.
Yeah, that's right. I'm actually not 100% sure, because Sarah Perez-Sala has actually got the orange cap on, so she's in third. We've got Kate Waugh in second, and it's one of our purple caps up front. So this is testing me here. This is either...
Come on, name the stroke.
I think it might be Lena Meissner, but I don't want to put all my money on it right now. But we will get a timing split, as you said, because they will come out the water before they run back around the turnbuoy, go in again for their second 1 kilometre lap. So we are going to get a split. We will have accurate data pretty soon. But it does look like a little bit of a gap's forming there. So you can see the green cap of Georgia Taylor-Brown. She's about 2-3 body lengths off the back of those front five now. So that's just happened about a minute ago or so. I was looking and thinking Georgia was in a pretty good position, very distinctive. It's easy to pick her out with that green cap. But now that gap has started to go, and that's not the way she would have wanted to start this race.
The other cap, of course, to keep your eye on is Julie Derron. That's the pink cap. It doesn't look like she's in this front group, not from what I can see. We'll obviously
no, I don't think so.
that.
I think that's the red cap of Imo Simmonds at the back. I think that might be possibly Taylor Spivey coming up around the side as well. And yes, so who is leading the gap? Leading the pack right now? I'm gonna stick with it, and I'm gonna say maybe it's Lena Meissner.
Okay.
We will find out very soon.
We certainly will. We certainly will. Fantastic support out on the shore there, and of course on the pier. Plenty of age group athletes, as I mentioned, taking part in races this year. We had over 3,000 compete last year. We've got about the same number doing it this year as well, racing the 100k distance, also the Olympic, the sprint. We've got junior and kids races as well. So
it's part of their national Super Series racing, so it's really great. The juniors who are up and coming, trying to be the next elite athletes in Canada, get to finish their series here. They race just after the T100 finishes, so it's really cool. They get to watch all these inspiring women race and then take to the start line themselves. And it's a sold-out T100, of course, absolutely sold out, and by all accounts had the sort of best feedback of any of the T100s last year. This was the one to go to. So if you are thinking of signing up to a T100 in the future, we'll be back here in August again next year, and get yourself signed up for the best competitor experience on the circuit.
Ooh. Certainly will. Right, so look, we've got an interesting sort of split here, haven't we? They've kind of gone into more of a line.
Yeah.
Which is
They've spread right across. It's really unusual. Normally at this point you'd sort of see a leader, but they're all going to try and pick their own way out. And I do remember last year they really struggled at points because the sand was quite sinky. It was quite mud orientated rather than too much sand, so it was quite hard for them to sort of get their way out. Maybe they were just giving themselves a nice bit of space, but you can see the athletes dragged really far over to the left of screen, and that again could be that sort of current, the tide that we keep talking about.
Yeah, and Sara Perez-Sala in the orange cap there, she is made up a little bit of ground, I think it's fair to say. She's now going to come out the water, I think, first.
I wouldn't be surprised if she's our lead around lap 2.
So there we go. Quick look back there from Kate Waugh to see the state of affairs behind her.
And that's Taylor Spivey and Imo Simmonds coming through there. It is in fact Georgia Taylor-Brown leading that next group through. And it was Lena Meisner who
Top
was leading most of that
points to Vicky Hollands.
Very
there
proud.
You go. Never in doubt. And this is going to be, well, this is one of the longer Aussie exits that we've got, particularly going on sand as well. That's unstable underfoot, of course. That's going to add an extra little challenge to the athletes, and they've got to go and do this all again. Another kilometre in the water before they get out onto the bike course.
This moment here will be critical for those girls who have just missed that pack. So Georgia Taylor-Brown, Bianca Bogan, Nicole van der Kay, Hannah Berry, those girls, the gap between Taylor Spivey and Georgia Taylor-Brown is 7 seconds. And that could be absolutely crucial. And at the point where you're running back into the water to dive back in, you can make up so much time if you just close 2 to 3 seconds at the point of the run in and the dive. You suddenly become into the draft zone, and that will help you sort of suction yourself back onto the pack. But it's really important to push now, or that gap will undoubtedly balloon in lap 2.
Yeah, of course, great for your energy conservation as well, making sure that you're able to start that bike leg with as much energy as possible, having not expended it on the swim. So Kate Waugh currently in the lead, Sara Perez-Sala just behind, Lena Meisner in third.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more swimmer to be coming out here. 1 kilometre down for the top 19. One more to go here, and as she gets out of the water,
so Kate Waugh leading them out once again. A familiar sight, wasn't it, last year on the T100, seeing Kate Waugh at the very front, both in the swim, both in the bike and in the run as well. That's what you need to be able to do to become a T100 world champion. I just wonder, Vicky, the relief that must be going through Kate at the moment, just to finally be on the start line of what has been such a disjointed season.
Well, I think there'll be a huge amount of relief. I mean, when you're dealing with any kind of injury, but especially one that goes on for a long time, and in Kate's case as well, it was prolonged. It sort of seemed to get better a bit. She made it worse again. It sort of had to go back to square one with it. There's that feeling of, will I ever get back to it? And so the relief of being back out there will be absolutely palpable for her. But what I think she's feeling right now is excitement. She's taken this race from the very first few meters and said, I am back, I want to be out here racing, I have missed this. And she would not be leading this race right now if she wasn't excited to be here or feeling like she could do some damage, try and tear the race apart. And I think it'd be fair to say she's probably not quite in her best run shape yet, but I think her swim and bike will be pretty special today.
It's one way to find out what your run legs are like, and that's to compete against the very best. But I've no doubt we're going to see Georgia Taylor-Brown in there, Julie Derron, phenomenal runner. And then take your pick, that really is going to be all to play for when we come to the end of this race. A long way to go, of course, before the 18 kilometres of the run. But yeah, that's kind of the way to test yourself, isn't it? There's only so much training you can do before you take yourself back to a world-class field, and also a world-class field in the sort of peaking phase of the season, right? We're starting to get towards the business end. You're not at that early part of the season anymore where you're testing it out. We've got a real idea of the sort of form of these athletes as they build towards the final in Qatar.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of these athletes have been racing since, March, April, probably at the latest, for pretty much all of them. And whilst Kate did do a couple of races in May, that set her back so far that it's taken another few months to get her on the start line. So this is kind of like her season beginning now. And she stated very clearly that she wants to race pretty much everything that is out there from now till the end of the season. And she will be you know, all being well, she'll be at every race between now and Qatar, and that race to Qatar, and it's going to be very, very difficult for her to retain her title now, because to do so she'd have to do it with one result less than her competitors. But should she win everything and other results kind of conspire to help her, then it's still possible, and I think she'll throw everything at it and hope that that pays off in the end.
Yeah, scores on the doors instantly for the race to Qatar. Imo Simmonds sits at the top on 42 points. We've got Georgia Taylor-Brown in second on 35. She's tied with Taylor Knibb on 35. Taylor Knibb not here in Vancouver to defend her title from last year, but we'll no doubt see her back on a T100 start line. It means we're going to get a brand new winner the second time round here in Vancouver. Awful long way to go, of course, until we find out who's going to emerge victorious this afternoon. So Kate Waugh leading the way, Sarah Perez-Sala in second, and I think that's still Lena Meisner in third. Red hat of Imo Simmonds as well. This pack has been working well together, hasn't it, so far in this race as they reach that furthest red turnbuoy.
Well, I'm really interested to know whether Taylor Spivey is the athlete who's going the straightest, most direct route, or if the others are going the straight route and she is the one who's maybe done a little bit of extra swimming, because she seems to consistently be swimming a slightly different line to everybody else. So either she's wrong or they're wrong, but someone is swimming further than they need to.
We'll see on the GPS later on.
we need a tracking app,
see some
don't we?
squiggly lines.
Yeah.
Okay, all across the season we're competing for the race to Qatar, and it's about time our attention turns towards the business end of the season.
Three weights at the finish line. There's everything to play for.
Well, blink and you miss it, because we're halfway through the T100 season. We started on the Gold Coast, of course, for the women, and then we were in Pamplona, Spain last time out. We're now here in Vancouver. We go to Dubai next, before, of course, the grand final in Qatar. It's going to be over before you know it, Vicky. I mean, goodness me,
How's
where
that
is
happened,
2026 gone?
Scary, I know. We say that, but there's still an awful lot of racing to go before we get to our final in Qatar, and a lot of changes that can happen in our leaderboard. But it's shaping up to be an exciting series, that's for sure. There we go, we've got the rest of the dates on screen for you now. So the next race, we are heading back to the French Riviera on the 19th of September. That's the men's race there. For the women, take the start line again in Dubai on the 14th of November. The men will be in Saudi Arabia late on in November on the 27th, and then everybody comes together for that grand final in Qatar on the 11th of December.
Yeah, it was a fantastic event last year. Really looking forward to going back to Qatar, getting everyone back together again. But yeah, as we say, plenty of racing to go until then. Kate Waugh still out in front as we've got the Vancouver skyline in the background. What a stunning city this is. No sign of orcas yet, Vicky Hollands.
And we hope not. No, the athletes would be being quickly evacuated from the water, I think, should that be the case. But you know, just to go back to Kate Waugh, I think what is impressing me the most at this early point in the race is, and it's something that she said to me this week, that while people assume that because you're injured you're injured for running, I should say, your swimming and your biking will automatically be really good, because you can focus on those two elements. You've not got the residual fatigue from the running as well, and you can really put everything into being as good as you can be on swim bike. But it's actually not as simple as that, because it's really, really hard to motivate yourself to go harder than ever in the swim and bike when there's no end in sight to this injury, when you don't know what you're actually aiming for, when your next race is coming around, and you can be in quite a difficult mental spot, emotional spot, and trying to push on and, you know, really give everything to that training is quite hard to do. And Kate admitted to me that she found that pretty difficult in the depths of this injury that she's battled all year long. But here she is, stretching things out, leading this swim, and there's only 5 girls that have been able to make that break, and that's incredibly impressive.
Yeah, that's probably underplayed, I think, isn't it? With certainly from sort of the non-athlete side in the media, I think we forget the toll of athletes' injuries, and yeah,
I mean, we're only human, right?
Yeah, I mean, but certainly for the length that Kate has been out, and you have to remember, of course, as well. Cast your mind back to Qatar at the end of last year, the golden girl of the T100, you know, winning on your debut season, going to this distance, going to the 100k distance, having all of that weight and expectation behind you, succeeding, bossing it, and then you get the most deflating news ever of that injury, and then having some false starts throughout the season as well. I mean, that just, even saying it then, that whole process of what, 7-8 months must just exhaust you as a competitor.
It's incredibly draining, and you know, from my own experience as an athlete, I remember coming off the back of the Olympic year in 2016 thinking, you know, I'm going to push on now and I'm going to improve even on what I've been able to do, and I'm going to come out there and try and win a world title, and I was sort of really confident and keen to do that. But then I was faced with an injury which meant it wiped out virtually my whole season as well, and it's really disorientating to be kind of 1 minute at the top of the tree and feeling on top of the world, and the next minute the sport moves on so fast, people forget, and you're just left there dealing with this injury, and it's really, really difficult. It is the sort of the mental and emotional side for sport that we probably don't talk about as much. It's all sport, you know, elite sport at any level, and if I'm honest, I think a lot of age groupers would relate to that as well. Participation level athletes would kind of understand that feeling of despair you get and frustration that you get when you've got this injury that you can't seem to cure. And that is Taylor Spivey now. So Taylor Spivey has again taken the wider line, and if you see how far they are away from that yellow buoy, that shows how far to the left of this course they've been dragged, because that's a sighting buoy and they're quite far away from that buoy now. So Taylor has taken the wide line, but she is now leading us into T1.
Yeah, taking the lead, and the wide line all in one fell swoop has Taylor Spivey, so currently sitting just ahead of Kate Waugh, and it looks like she's actually just putting some speed down here, because she's a good body length and a bit ahead of Kate in second. Sara Perez-Sala still sitting in third, but the shoreline just there in the distance. That will come as a welcome relief to a lot of the swimmers, probably a bit further behind. I think these guys out in front would probably rather the swim just went on a little bit longer to try and make that lead as big as possible. But there we go. That's the sport of triathlon. 2 kilometres almost done here in the water before we're about to get out onto the bike course here in Vancouver.
And you know, this is something that I think's become a bit trademark of Taylor Spivey. She starts a little bit slower, and she comes through and comes like a train through at the end of each swim. And I've noticed it time and time again in T100, and even in short course racing. She's got such a strong back end to her swim that you can always rely on her being there at the swim exit, even if she's not quite there early on the swim.
Better to do that than do what I think a lot of age groupers do, myself included, start too quickly. So there we go, Taylor Spivey out of the water first, Kate Waugh in second spot, Sara Perez-Sala in third, Lena Meisner in fourth, and that is Imo Simmonds as well.
I think that's a great swim from Imo Simmonds
out in
as well.
fifth. They've got 274 metres now along the beach to T1.
Yeah, it's a long run on the sand, and you can see they're sort of trying to run on the slightly harder packed sand close to the shore, rather than going a bit higher up, where it's much harder to run in that deep sand. But on the image we just had of them getting out of the water, we could see back to that next group being led by Georgia Taylor-Brown, and that gap has ballooned out. Remember, it was only 7 seconds from the back of the front pack to the front of that second pack as they came out of the water on lap 1. That gap's gone out significantly, so we'll wait on the time checks. They'll be coming any second. There we go. Nicole van der Kay now leading that group through. She's at 41 seconds back. So that's 32 seconds from Imo Simmonds in 5th to Nicole van der Kay in 6th. So that gap has gone out significantly on that second lap.
How do you keep your heart rate down here, Vicky, running on sand?
Oh, with great difficulty.
My goodness me.
I was never good at that.
This is tough. I mean, you've just put your all into that swim, and then you've got the sand to contend with. I know some of it's harder packed, but goodness me, it's still going to be very difficult. But Taylor Spivey riding high, of course, off her first T100 podium in Spain the last time out. She is first into transition. Kate Waugh there just getting that wetsuit off, getting the helmet on, Sarah Perez-Sala also doing the same. Nice and smooth this from our athletes. And Kate Woff is already on the bike. She's already making her way out onto the bike course. And is that Taylor? Yeah, Taylor Spivey still in transition. We're going to be able to, I'm sure, get a look at the transition times, but given she was first out of the water, that will be disappointing, I'm sure, for Taylor. I don't know if she maybe had a little issue with getting a helmet on there, but already look at that gap. It's 50, 60,
Look
70 metres. Wow.
How fast this second group have come through into transition. So remember, that was over 30 seconds back from the 5th to 6th athlete. That gap was over 30 seconds back from Imo Simmonds to Nicole van der Kay. I think they made up a significant amount of time there as they ran through that sand section and into transition, because I don't think that's been 30 seconds since we saw Imo Simmonds leave transition.
Bianca Bogan getting out on the course.
Georgia Taylor-Brown's in that group as well. And that's Hannah Berry just getting on her bike there as well.
So there we go. They'll start to enter the bike course. Now, interestingly, we've got sort of section 1 of this bike course, which is 7.64 kilometres. Looks like Kate Woff is just strapping her feet in there. Oh, sorry, that's Taylor Spivey, beg your pardon, just strapping her feet into her shoes. But yeah, they've got one section of 7.64 kilometres before they then move on to 5 laps of 14.1 kilometres. And there's a tiny little section at the end to make it up to 80. So quite an interesting first section of this bike course. They won't see this at any other point, and it's a nice little uphill, just in case the swim, the run on sand wasn't enough. They've now got to put the power down and get up this hill as quickly as possible.
Yeah, quite a meaty little hill this is to start with. So this is a section of the course that is different to what they did last year. The vast majority of the course, they covered all of it last year. But this section, just to get out to the main loop that they're going to do, as you said, Matt, 5 times, this is new. So that is Kate Woff that we're with there. And we saw how she obliterated a lot of the bike courses last year, you know, first time out in Singapore where she shocked the world, I think, and maybe herself a little bit as well, where she was so strong on that bike leg. And we've seen her pretty much every time she's taken to T100, she's been at the very front, if not leading, at least in 2nd or 3rd, coming off the bike with the leaders. So I think she'll be hoping and expecting for the same again. As we said, we think her swim and bike are in a really good place. It's just a question of what her legs are going to be able to do when it comes to the run.
Well, all she can do, I mean, I imagine, speaking as a non-professional athlete, but I imagine you can fill in the gaps here, Vicky. You've got to take it little bit of the race by bit of the race, right?
Oh,
you can't be thinking about the run at this stage of the race. It's got that's in the future. You've got to, if you're Kate, you've got to now do what you've been training. You know, you've just got to think about this next little section of the race, and then hope that you build up enough of a lead to make yourself a factor come later on.
Well, that's the only way you can think about it. You know, you've got to break it down into, as you quite rightly said, very easy, bite-sized chunks. But there could be a tactical element for Kate in that if she is thinking, you know what, my run isn't quite there, going that little bit harder on the bike is probably not going to make that much of a difference to her run legs if she's not got that top end anyway. So she might be thinking it's worth throwing a bit more at the bike leg maybe than she might have done previously. Or maybe there's no tactics involved at all and I'm just, you know, speculating.
But it's an interesting challenge, isn't it? Because yeah, you're right. If she does push a bit too hard on the bike, I mean but the run is going to become even harder than an even harder challenge than it would have done had she not. So I'm sure there's a fine balance to be struck. I'm sure she'll have the numbers in her head that she wants to hit. Let's get a great look at that bike there, the aero position that Kate's been in. I mean, as we've been saying, with that injury, at least plenty of time to work on the TT position.
Yeah, definitely, lots and lots of time for that, absolutely. Looks like she was gesticulating at something. We can hear at something beeping ahead, so maybe there was a little bit of congestion ahead of her, maybe. But all seems to be okay at the moment. I'm just actually having a little look down that pylon on the left-hand side, and probably most interesting things out of the swim for me that Julie Derron and Alana Siffert together at about 1.5 minutes down. Now that's definitely a bigger gap than I think that they would have liked, especially Julie Derron, because at her absolute best, Julie Derron has been swimming at the front of these races, and so to be 1.5 minutes down at this point, I think that's a little bit unexpected for me.
We know what Alana Siffert can do on the bike, don't we? I mean, she is one of the best bikers we have on the T100 by some stretch. Fastest bike splits, she had in Spain. She also had one in France last year. Every time she turns up, she is certainly one to watch on the bike. So a long way to go for her. Now looks like Hannah Berry just overtaking Georgia Taylor-Brown.
That's right, yeah.
That looks like that's sort of in that battle, eighth or ninth, a little bit further back. Of course, we'll get a few more accurate timings once they go through the first timing check.
That's Imo Simmonds there. So Imo Simmonds, Taylor Spivey and Kate Waugh wearing the same tri-suit, just to make things a little bit confusing
Thank you
for us.
so much, guys. We really appreciate it here in the commentary box. Just a word on those tri-suits, I mean, all being very, very similar colour. I mean, in terms of the colour, obviously it's not one of our warmer races. You think back to Spain, we had so many of the athletes saying after the race, wow, you know, that was one of the hottest races I've ever done. Yeah. You sort of would think maybe this is a race for the darker tri-suit if you're gonna go for one, being, you know, slightly cool. I mean, the air temperature at the start of the swim was 21 degrees. It's actually a lovely day to go racing.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been kind of this fact, isn't it, that you wear white because it's the coolest colour to wear and it reflects the heat off you. But a lot of these companies now, these suit companies, have done so much work on their materials that they've actually sort of managed to negate a lot of those differences. So I don't think actually it makes too much difference the colour that they're wearing, and that's just down to the amazing new materials that they've trialled.
Yeah, or you cut most of it out from the back, like Sarah Perez-Sala,
yeah.
And you've got far more skin, I guess, to breathe and to feel the conditions.
Not as aerodynamic though. That's why a lot of the suits now have sleeves, and they go obviously quite low down towards the knee on the legs. And the reason for that is the materials. Again, they're so good, they're actually faster. So Sarah Perez-Sala's clearly gone for comfort, whereas it's possibly not the fastest suit on the market.
So good look there at Georgia Taylor-Brown, currently sitting in second spot in the race to Qatar standings. That win, her first T100 win, of course, last time out in Pamplona, Spain. And a really great performance, wasn't it, Vicky? Just really, really good to see Georgia on sort of peak Georgia form, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, when Georgia's good, she sort of makes it look easy. She looks like she's not particularly trying very hard, and I know that's not true. I know that she is trying very hard, but when she's on form, she seems to sort of glide, both on the bike and when she runs. It makes it look really, really easy. So we'll be very keen to see what version of Georgia turns up today. I know she's had a big block of training recently, feeling a little bit fatigued off that, but she's been here in Vancouver for nearly 2 weeks now, I think. So definitely one of the most acclimatized athletes in terms of the time zone and the conditions here on course, and she'll be keen to back up her Pamplona result for sure.
Yeah, I remember last time out, last year, we had quite a few of the athletes coming out early. I remember Martin Van Riel doing a training camp out here. It's such a stunning part of the world. If you're going to go and travel ahead to a race early, I dare say this is one of the better ones to do it.
Well, that's who Georgia's been training with, the same group that Martin Van Riel trained with last year, because they've got the same coach, so they're part of the same training group, and that connection has obviously lasted, and that's what we love to see from our triathlon community, sort of hosting athletes from all over the world.
They know the good routes, don't they?
They do.
They've been there, they've got the t-shirt, they're able to recommend the right places to have a look at. But at the moment, this is quite a move at the front, isn't it, from Kate Waugh, who is starting this bike leg. She means to go on right out in front and looking very, very good for it. Kate Waugh currently leading here in Vancouver. So a great look there at Kate Waugh's view as she's just started this bike leg. But we're going to get the thoughts of Georgia Taylor-Brown, winner last time out in Spain. Here she is talking about the pressure of coming back as a T100 champion.
I don't think about it too much. I think just like one race at a time and each process at a time. Yeah, obviously I'd love to be able to go into Qatar with 3 really good results and be able to relax a little bit there. But yeah, I don't think about it too much. I just kind of think about one race at a time, and just getting that right. And yeah, I don't want to think too much in the future, because I get bogged down on that otherwise. So yeah, it's just think about this weekend and then get this right, and if I can have a good result, then it sets me up well.
So staying in the moment, that's the name of the game if you're Georgia Taylor-Brown. It's been a really, really good season for her. We were talking about it plenty in Spain, Vicky, weren't we, about the trajectory and the trend that she was on. You know, you think back to London last year, 12th, all those GI issues that she had, and really struggled to sort of look at home at this distance, but got a bit better in France, got a lot better in Dubai, getting a 4th place there, then 2nd in Qatar at the end of the year, and, well, 1st place in Spain. As you return to the T100 in 2026, it's sort of, you couldn't write a better trajectory.
Yeah, no, she certainly took every step on the way up, didn't she? And then it's really difficult, because what do you do once you've reached the top? You know, it's one thing getting there, but it's another thing staying there. And of course, this is such a strong start list with the likes of Kate Waugh back, who's blowing this race apart already, really. I mean, she went for it super early on, and as we're talking now, that is Julie Derron.
Wow.
So Julie Derron was 1.5 minutes back out the water, and if you look on that leaderboard, she's already taken that gap down to about a minute. So that is a real sign of intent from Julie Derron. Watch her come through the field. Alana Siffert, there we go, just coming into, actually no, sorry, that's Bianca Bogan. I think Alana Siffert will be the next athlete that we see. She's also blowing through the field. So these two Swiss athletes are coming up on all these others. So Bianca Bogan and Georgia Taylor-Brown, they were riding together already, and it's the next athlete that's going to come through. Here we go, there she is.
As if by magic.
Right on cue, thank you, Alanis. She is coming through with Julie Derron. So those girls are making their way to the front. And if, again, we saw this happen, I don't know if you remember in Pamplona, where they caught up to Georgia, and then it was on Georgia to respond. And she did respond, and they rode together the entire rest of the way. She's got to do the same again, because right now she's in danger of Kate Waugh taking this race away from her.
And Bianca Bogan has just got to be careful to let Alana Siffert take that, because she is now fully overtaken, unless Bianca's going to go back. But she's got to be careful here not to
she only got about 45 seconds, I think, to get back out.
Get in trouble here with a drafting penalty. You see the little light at the back of the bikes flashing. When it's flashing red, you are within that danger zone, and you've got to get out of it as soon as possible. But they're all quite bunched here, aren't they? As Alana Siffert looks to be making the move on Georgia Taylor-Brown as well. So that's, well, 3 or 4 athletes in the space of a few minutes for Alana Siffert, as Kate Waugh is making that corner.
So that means she's now done that first section of the course, and they're onto the main loop. So 5 times around this loop they've got, having done that little first section, 7.5 kilometres out to this point.
It'll be interesting, won't it, to get the latest timing split as soon as that pylon updates on the left-hand side, and just find out the order, because that really was quite a hectic few minutes there for the Swiss athletes,
yeah, a lot
isn't
of
it?
shopping and changing going on.
But we're so used to it, aren't we? We saw it in Pamplona, like you said, the Swiss just coming through. Julie Derron, also coached by the same coach, we should say, as well. Similar tactics. And yeah, I wonder if they would have had a word at breakfast and just...
There you go. So George has got a little bit frustrated there, because it looked like Julie was leaning down to maybe do something with her shoe, but because she's done that, George has ended up going into her draft zone, and that's what she's a bit frustrated about.
Yeah, it's not where you want to be at all at the back of that, because it's running the risk of getting a penalty.
That's
and the officials on the course are going to be red hot on that.
And that's Nicole van der Kay on the back of that little group there as well. So those athletes all coming through there, all around that minute section behind Kate Waugh at the front.
What do you do there? What do you do if you're Bianca Bogan? You're right in the middle of it. You're right in the thick of it. I mean, how do you avoid getting a penalty?
To be absolutely sure, you have to go around the athlete in front of you. You know, there's no other way. They're pretty lenient through those technical sections as you come into the U-turns, because things do bunch up, people break, and you're not really truly drafting at that point. They've bunched up because there are so many high quality athletes in a short space of time. But if you want to be doubly sure, you've probably got to go around that athlete in front of you and make sure that there's no way that you can be accused of drafting.
It's a good look there at on the bottom of your screen, just at the distance that Kate Waugh has eked out, really, on Imo Simmonds and Sarah Perez-Sala in second and third, 11 seconds at the last count, and then 34 seconds back to Lena Meisner and Taylor Spivey. So they're still a bunch, Vicky. My goodness me.
They are, as they go, and they're going up
a climb now as well. They're going to have to sort this out.
And there's a lot of toing and froing of positions here, a lot of jostling. No one seems to really quite be they're settled, you know, I should say, in the position that they're going to ride in for a lot of this bike course. But yeah, you can see they're spread all across the road.
I mean, there's so many flashing red lights. It's a party. I mean, goodness me. I think. I mean,
I feel like George is sort of just staying out the.
George has managed to get out of it because she's got the blue flashing light there.
Yeah, so she's staying far enough back that she's kind of out of trouble.
Just
as I say that, I mean, they are going through an aid
water.
Station there, so once again, they're pretty lenient with that as they go through aid stations.
Here we go.
You can't really be focusing on the gap in front of you when you're trying to take a bottle as well.
This is the technical official
with
his
to see
notepad.
whether he's going to take any notes, dish out any cards. What's he going to do?
I don't see how you can't. I do not see how you can't give a penalty here.
He's having a good look at what's going on, that's for sure.
Well, this is as good a view as you're going to get. This is the view of the technical official watching this at home.
He's gone past Nicole van der Kay, he's gone up alongside Hannah Berry as well.
I don't know if the athletes can see that the technical official is come behind them. You would think that they would do something to stop it, wouldn't you?
They must know that he's there.
We're going to find out. It might be a busy few hours in the TO office.
There's still so much chopping and changing here. So Nicole van der Kay went past Hannah Berry. Here we go, Bianca Bogan going for the double overtake as well. Really, just so much jostling.
Okay, well, if you're new to the T100, very good to have you with us. We're not just about the pros, though. There's plenty of ways you can get involved. Here's a quick look at how you can do so. Okay, we're not going to be able to bring you that just at the moment, but maybe just as well, because we've got a really interesting situation going on here at the front of this race. The technical official...
He feels like he's having a chat to everyone as he goes past, isn't he? Maybe he's just giving them all a little bit of a verbal warning, just saying, look, we've got our eyes on you. We've seen a lot of red flashing lights. Let's not make this a disco, girls. Spread out. I wonder if that's what's going on. I mean... It does seem like he's rolling up beside every athlete and just pausing long enough and saying a few words to them and then moving on.
Well, we're going to find out sooner or later what the outcome of that is, but that's so far away from Kate Waugh at the front of this race. She won't have a clue about all of that going on right behind. And she's serenely out in front here. That gap is just starting to come down. If you look at your timing screen on the left, that looks like more 8 seconds or so between Kate Waugh and Imo Simmonds. We know, of course, the talent that Imo Simmonds possesses on the bike. You know, the talent that most of these women here have on the bike. Some fantastic cyclists in and amongst this field. This stellar field here in Vancouver is really nicely poised, I would say, as we're just entering the meat of this bike leg.
So now we're back just behind Georgia Taylor-Brown. It looks like she's about to overtake Taylor Spivey, going very wide there as she does so. But it feels like Georgia almost let everybody jostle around in front of her, argy-bargy for position, get all close to each other, and then now she's kind of coming up on the outside and trying to overtake a couple. So yeah, it's tricky. If you're someone who is nervous about this situation with the race ranger and not getting caught out by it, not inadvertently drafting someone, it wouldn't be an ideal position to be in, having this many athletes so close to one another at that point. So maybe she's just been picking her moment to move on through.
Well, it's smart racing from Georgia, and don't forget, Georgia isn't the most experienced athlete at this distance, is she?
And so many of the athletes who are new to it, and maybe they've been predominantly short course throughout their career and they've not raced over middle long distance very often, they're not used to the non-drafting setup and using the race ranger. it can be really tricky. I remember last year Jess Learmont saying she was so terrified about it that she either rode off the front on her own or 20 seconds behind someone.
Great if you can ride off the front.
Yeah, which, I mean, Jess is a bit of a one-off in that that's her ability to do so. But yeah, I've heard it from a few of the short course girls, or I should say the girls who've come from short course racing, that they've been so worried about getting caught out for drafting because they've not been able to sort of concentrate, or they're worried they might not see the light properly or whatever, that they've just stayed way off the back and made sure that they're not going to get penalised.
Well, we've seen numerous occasions. I mean, actually, Paula Findlay last year, but there's been numerous occasions where athletes have got that minute. I mean, Larry Nygaard-Priester, I'm thinking, last time out in San Francisco, you get a minute penalty, and all of a sudden it derails your race. So the quality of these fields is so high now that a minute actually could be the difference between second or a third or a fourth or a fifth, and ultimately in the life of an athlete, this is big money on the line, particularly on the T100.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a minute penalty as opposed to the 3-5 minutes it used to be, which is great because it means that if you get a penalty, you are rightly penalised, but your race isn't over. Whereas I think that was the worry before, but it's still a minute, and you don't want to give up a minute to other athletes, especially when the competition is as strong as it is here today.
Just trying to work out, are we back at the front here? Is that
I think that's Imogen
just being
Simmons
overtaken by Imogen Simmons?
Kate Waugh.
Ah, of course, sorry.
So they got the same suit on, remember?
But a white bike for Imogen
that's
Simmons.
Right, there we go.
That's how we're going to tell the difference. But white helmet,
layman's terms, white bike, black bike.
Same tri-suit, same calf sleeves.
There
my goodness me. You're making it very difficult for us out on the course,
guys. We've all got the same sponsor. That's the problem here. And then Taylor Spivey, of course, is the other athlete who's got the same suit, but she's a little bit further back now, so she's slid to about 8th place now. She's 52 seconds back on the leaderboard.
Big race this for Imogen Simmons, our Race to Qatar leader. This is a real opportunity to lay down a marker, show the 42 points, or increase those 42 points that she's got at the top. I mean, she's raced in two of the two races, I guess, so far this year.
Yeah, she really is. She's raced the season brilliantly so far, and when she's had her best races, this is what she's done. She's gone on a bike breakaway, either completely solo or with one other athlete, and she has had podiums in the T100 at PTO races historically when she's done that. So I think it's a really positive sign for her that she's gone for it with Kate Waugh early on, and especially given Kate had a little bit of a gap on her, and she's closed that back up again.
Does this help Kate?
Potentially, not right now. Kate's not seen her yet, I don't think, because Kate's been at the front the entirety of this bike course, but it absolutely could do. And these two athletes working together, the strength that they have on the bike could be really, really dangerous.
Yeah, it certainly could. You see there that QR code on your screen. That will take you to T100triathlon.com/live, where you can get the same data screens that we've got up in the commentary box. Really dive in and find out exactly the sort of average speeds that these athletes are doing. Just see how impressive they are. My goodness me, they really are impressive if you compare them. Fantastic. But she might start to hear Imogen Simmons behind her now. This gap is coming down. It's back to the blue flashing light for Kate Waugh out in front. But Imogen Simmons, I mean, she's lurking, isn't she? She's ready to make the move.
She's probably put in quite an effort, because that gap was out over 10 seconds at one point, so she will have had to put in a pretty concerted effort. There we go, as we get a little look down on the screen, about 50k an hour they're going right now. So not hanging around at all, but she will have put in a concerted effort to get back up to Kate Waugh, and she's probably just biding her time right now. I imagine she will come to the fore in a minute, and if Kate Waugh isn't aware of her, at this moment here, she probably will be, because she'll have just gone round that corner there, round that dead turn, or U-turn as we call it. We'll have seen Imogen Simmons there.
It's a tight turn, that, isn't it?
It is a tight turn. There we go. Sarah Perez-Salas still holding firm in third, and a little bit of a gap as they wait for the fourth athlete on course, who I believe we've not had eyes on yet, but it is the home favourite in Paula Findlay. And there she goes, past us in the opposite direction. Wow. So she blew through the field, and we didn't actually catch her as she went through, but she's come from a good way down out of the swim as well, and come up to 4th place so far.
But they're still all packed. I mean, just watching them go past
You're
that.
outraged, Matt.
I'm just.
Who's getting a penalty?
I'm just confused as to the mentality there with the athletes, and why they're not trying to sort that out, or if there has already been a penalty issued. I mean, we'll obviously bring you news of that as soon as we get it, but it doesn't look like it's changed. And
but
the rules are very strict.
They were very close to the U-turn there. They were within about 10 seconds of going around that U-turn, and I do think that at that point they probably know that they're in a bit of an exclusion zone for where the drafting penalties are going to get issued. And at that point, maybe it's an opportunity for them to bunch up a little bit, go around that U-turn, take a couple of places back, and then they're not fighting for those positions when they come out the other side.
It's a really good look there at Imo Simmonds and that aero position. You can see almost the sweat coming down the nose as she's putting in this effort right behind Kate Waugh. But these two in command at the moment, Kate Waugh and Imo Simmonds, first and second. Sara Perez-Sala just behind in third spot. This is a long, straight part of the course, isn't it?
It is, and it does look like Imo Simmonds has pulled wide there so that she can go around Kate Waugh and take her turn at the front, and she's going to need to, because if you look further down that timing pylon that we've got, those other athletes are beginning to catch. We've got a big long line of athletes from 4th place of Paula Findlay all the way down to Nicole van der Kay in 12th, and they are all just a couple of seconds apart each all the way down. There's only 14 seconds between all of those athletes, and they're coming.
Yeah. And they'll know that because they will have seen them on this out and back section.
Yeah.
They'll have been on the other side of the road. That is far better, isn't it, I would imagine, than getting a split from a coach on the side. Actually just physically seeing how close your nearest competitors are will give you a really good indication of where that threat is going to come from. But this is a position that Kate Waugh has been in many, many times before. She's worked really well with other brilliant bikers at the front of races. Cast your mind back to last year with Lucy Charles-Barkley many times. Jessica Learmonth as well. I mean, they countless occasions were at the front of these races and putting down a marker. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how this little section of the race unfolds.
Well, for me, it's now or never. I really think there's got to be a concerted effort. They will have seen that time gap, and surely they've timed it themselves from when they went round that U-turn to when they saw their competition coming in the opposite direction. And they will know that that gap is now starting to come down a little bit. They know the power that they've got coming behind them in the likes of Paula Findlay and Julie Derron, Alana Siffert, Georgia Taylor-Brown, just to mention a few of those girls. And they don't want to give those girls a sniff, because it's always the way with elite sport. It's about momentum. As much as it's about the power and the skill and the fitness, it's about momentum, and they don't want to give those girls hope that they have caught that gap back up, they're back in the race, and that it's anyone's game.
It's fair to say Imo Simmonds enjoying being back in the throngs of racing in 2026. I mean, she's racing a lot. She's obviously raced both of the T100 races that we've had so far. She also came second, going the full distance in Switzerland not long ago. And yeah, she is an athlete that's really good to see back on form, back at the front of these races, for sure.
Yeah, she's certainly making the most of it after nearly a full year out of the sport last year. That would have been really rough for her, I'm sure. A lot of heartache she went through in 2025, but she's back racing and back showing that she's one of the best in the world and really taking the race to her competition. And putting in a really good fight in the race to Qatar as well, to say, hey, don't forget about me, I want a shot at being world champion too.
Yeah, she's in prime position. Fewer races this year means fewer opportunities for the other riders, athletes I should say. I was just distracted there by the work of Alana Siffert overtaking.
The distinctive work of Alana Siffert.
Very distinctive. Overtaking Georgia Taylor-Brown. This battle bubbling on nicely for the rest of this bike leg. So that is the unmistakable sight of Georgia Taylor-Brown.
I like her suit for this race. That's a colour we've not seen on her. She has a different suit, specifically, I should say, designed for each race. I'm trying to see what's on it, because they're all relative, or relevant, I should say, sorry, to the location that we race in. So is it got the trees on? Is that what I can see? Kind of the mountainous trees on the side of her suit, but we'll have to get a good look at it later on, maybe.
Well, if she's on the podium or even wins, we'll get Greg Welch to ask her exactly,
interview about the suit, please.
exactly what is on her suit. But speaking of Greg Welch, we can say hello to him for the first time this afternoon. He's down in the transition area, I believe, with rookie Lydia Russell's family. Greg, over to you.
All right, thank you very much, guys, and I think you need to settle down there a little bit too, by the way. All right, standing by right now is Sarah Gross. Sarah, you're a former professional triathlete and now part of Feisty Media, but there's other things that you do as well. But let's just talk a little bit about Lydia Russell right now, the rookie. Talk about being thrown into the deep end right here. It's amazing to see Lydia coming back from first injury, breaking the clavicle. Now she's back.
Yes, I am so excited for Lydia. In the winter, it was such a struggle. You know, she came back from breaking her collarbone, and she had a really hard recovery with it too. Like, I think at one point she had a pump on because there was infection in there. And I know that like plays with the mental side for an athlete. And so seeing her come back to a couple amazing 70.3 races and now here, it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's great to see but in a rookie year, you know, doing so well already, and the experience that she's going to gain out of this race as well with Kate Waugh and Imo Simmonds, our series leader and the current world champion, right up front there. It's great that she's getting a start with this type of competition.
Yes, and Lydia is such a wonderful, deserving person. You know, she's so authentic, and we love to support her at Feisty, so I'm stoked to see her out here racing at this caliber.
All right, you have some other incentives as well, and what we were talking about off air was, you know, really motivating for me, because what you do is also offer internships, you know, to people, and she's one of them that you've offered it to.
Yes, I have had such good luck with Feisty with having up-and-coming pro triathletes as our interns. I have to tell you, this is a highly motivated group. And Lydia has been a star for us. She's edited podcasts, she does some social media for us, and then this year we did a full sponsorship for her.
Well, it's great that you've, you know, kept that incentive program happening, and it's also good for the athletes to dip their feet in other things as they stay professional triathletes. She might be in 17th place right now. She might be a rookie, but Sarah, I think she's going to have a good afternoon.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Lydia is so tough, and I don't know, you know, I don't know how her swim went for her and what's going on in her mind right now, but she's definitely a tough athlete who stays in it mentally, even when it's not really going her way on the day. So I think we're going to see something yet.
All right, thank you very much for the incentive program. Thanks very much for the chat today.
Thanks, Craig.
Oh, great to get the thoughts down there in the transition area. I mean, Lydia Russell, yeah, we should say, what an impressive 24-year-old athlete we've got in the field. Obviously, T100 debut, but she came second at a 70.3 in Pennsylvania. She recently beating athletes of the caliber of Grace Tech, Grace Alexander, Hannah Berry. She had the fastest run of the day by 50 seconds, running a 1:19 half marathon. She's a seriously impressive athlete, and also young.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the exciting part.
She's one of a crop of youngsters that are really taking the triathlon scene by storm. We've got a couple of others in this race, and the likes of Alana Siffert, also 24 years old, and Daisy Davis, young Brit, she's also 24 years old. So, you know, these days people are racing over these longer distances so young, so early, whereas that never used to happen. It used to sort of be the older person's sport. You did short course for a while and then you moved on up, whereas these girls are showing that you can do it at any age. And, you know, Lydia Russell didn't have the swim that maybe she would have liked today, but she has sustained that collarbone break that Sarah Gross was talking about then. But she's had two collarbone breaks within a year. Absolutely brutal. She recovers from one and then does the other one. You know, absolutely awful in terms of getting any kind of consistency with your swim. So it's sort of not really that surprising to find that her swim wasn't quite where she'd want it to be today. But right now she's there on our leaderboard in 16th place.
Yeah, she certainly is. We'll keep an eye on her progress, and as I say, fantastic runner as well. So it's going to be exciting to see what she can do when she laces up the running shoes a little bit later on. But that's a brilliant shot there of Imo Simmonds in the lead of this race, going round, I think, that final corner.
Yeah, there they
just
go, back through.
Start the second lap.
That's it. And again, Kate Waugh is one of those athletes who, again, last year said She desperately didn't want to end up in the draft zone or be yo-yoing in and out of it, get herself penalised, and so she does tend to sit a little bit further back than she needs to, and then she's doing it again now. Absolutely classic of what we saw from her in 2025.
Yeah, she's always there or thereabouts in that sense, isn't she? She almost perhaps at times looked like she was dropping back, and then no.
Was it
still
Singapore? She was about 30 seconds behind Jess Lim up the entire bike ride. She sort of didn't really come closer or further away.
But that's enough. That is enough. As long as you stay in the mix, as long as you stay within reach once it comes to the run, you've got the ability that Kate Waugh has. Well, it's an easy equation, isn't it? You can see why the success came throughout a lot of last year.
Well, those other athletes have gone through that end of lap point, and we can see that Paula Findlay is up into third place, only 25 seconds back. So 20 seconds between Kate Waugh in second and Paula Findlay in third. So she's leading the charge, and she is bringing a group of athletes with her. So Sarah Perez-Sala now finds herself sort of in between, and Julie Derron at 31 seconds. And I think Julie Derron was actually just about to pass Sarah Perez-Sala when we saw them go through that little end of lap sort of car park, maybe we'll call that, and Georgia Taylor-Brown a few seconds further back again. So these athletes are coming now. They're starting to stretch out a little bit, but they are coming towards the front of the race.
I mean, on Julie Derron there, she's obviously had to work incredibly hard to get back into this position, 30 seconds back from the lead, given she was a minute and a half down from the swim. How much of her focus do you think or her training is trying to make that swim as a little bit better, bit by bit, which will just help her not have to expend so much energy so early on in the race? I mean, if you know, cast your mind back to Pamplona, the last race out, that sort of almost bizarre overtake that Georgia did over Julie, she was able to kind of make Julie look quite a weak runner at points, which is very much not what Julie is.
No, Julie's an absolutely phenomenal runner, but the way Georgia ran past her up the hill, she sort of bounced past her, didn't she? She looked absolutely incredible, and it made Julie look like she was really, really struggling. But I'm not sure how much she would be focusing on the swim. I think for her right now, she knows what she can gain by being so strong on the bike, and I think that's the direction she's going in. I think it's one thing if the swim is taking you out of the race completely. If your swim is at such a weakness that you can't get into the race, then it's something you have to focus on incredibly hard. And of course, if you're racing over short course, it's so important to be there all the time in the swim. But with the middle and long distances, you've got a bit of time, and if you've got the patience, then you can make that time up. And it's not, the deficit wasn't so big that it was game over when they came out of the swim. And so I imagine she's gone, it's actually more worth my while to spend that time on the bike and know that fitness will translate into running as well. There we go, a bit of a timing check on the side of the road. George is finding out exactly how far down she is on the front of the race, I'm sure there.
Yeah, so this group nicely packed, it's starting to spread out. I mean, Alana Siffert there going out just ahead of Georgia Taylor-Brown. Speaking of Alana Siffert, there she is. Great to see her back on a T100 start line. Let's get the thoughts of her earlier on in the week.
I really like to be, if I can be at the front of the race, you're kind of in control, or at least you know where you are, and you just race your race. You don't really think about the others, or that's my way of thinking. When I'm at the front, I'm just in my bubble, and you just go for it. And I also always I really like to enjoy the crowd, and of many races, like the fans or the support are amazing, and even when you're at the front, it's even more. So I kind of use this energy out to fuel me, to push me, and kind of enjoy this position. Yeah.
Well, when we talk about breakout years, I do wonder if we'll reflect on this being Alana Siffert's breakout year. What an incredible few months she's had. She's actually on a run of 3 wins in a row. Were she to win here in Vancouver, that would actually make it 4 wins in a row. She won the Alpe d'Huez, Challenge Roth, and the Zarowska Triathlon as well. 3 really impressive races.
Yeah.
I mean, Roth, obviously, we know very well. Such a historic and amazing race. But Alpe d'Huez, I mean, a word on that.
Another very iconic,
Yeah.
historic race. I mean, I don't think there's a person who knows cycling in the world who doesn't know about, you know, the famous Alpe d'Huez, the Tour de France that goes up it, not every year, but most years. An incredible triathlon race there, and Alana Siffitt's sort of made it her bread and butter. She's gone every year. I mean, she's only been a professional for about 4 years, but she goes every single year. And I think she's won it at least 3 of them. I think she got the course record this year that was held maybe by Daniela previously, Daniela Reef. So it's an incredible company that she's in. But that race was only 10 days ago. So you've got to wonder, has that done something? Has that taken a little bit of the sparkle, a little bit of the shine out of Alana Siffitt's legs? She's doing an incredible job right now, only about 20 seconds down from the front of the race, having made her way up there from about 1.5 minutes down out of the water. But at some point, is it going to take its toll on her? Because she is young and she's incredibly strong, phenomenal athlete. And you're absolutely right, Matt, in definitely what we will look back on as being a breakout season for her. But at some point, she's surely got to get tired.
What, over 3,000 metres of elevation on a bike leg of a middle distance triathlon?
I think that would do it.
I think that would do it.
Backing up from another full distance Ironman in Roth, you know, full distance triathlon in Roth only, you know, a few weeks before that. So she's got some serious mileage in her legs at the moment, and you know, the excitement and exuberance of youth may be carrying her through a little bit. Maybe she's not quite as tired as some of the other athletes might be, but yeah, just 10 days she's had to turn around from that Alpe d'Huez triathlon. So mightily impressed that she is currently sitting in 5th place.
We say it every time when athletes go back to back. Okay, 10 days, not quite, you know, 6 days or 7 days that we've seen, but still, it is so impressive, I think, for amateur athletes, maybe even for professional athletes. We saw, you know, Martin van Riel sort of taking the plaudits in Singapore a year or so ago when he did it back to back. But it is so impressive to be able to do when you think about the state most people are in when they do even a middle distance, let alone a full distance. It's really remarkable. Now, good look there on your screen of the timing difference between our various groups out in front, and of course we've been speaking a lot, haven't we, about Imo Simmonds, Kate Waugh. Paula Findlay looks like she's joined that party now as well. So those 3 at the front, Julie Derron back in 4th, Alana Siffitt not far behind, and then Hannah Berry, Georgia Taylor-Brown in 6th and 7th. A really good visual representation there, Vicky, of the sort of gaps that we've got at the front of this race.
Yeah, it just makes it a little bit easier to interpret than just kind of having to scan through time gaps and doing a little bit of mathematics on the side there. It's nice to have it laid out for us with the little images as well. Very nice. I like that little visual image there of all our girls, all our ladies on screen. But Paula Findlay there making her way right up to the front of the race, and we speculated how her legs were going to be feeling off the back of her first Ironman race. At the age of 37, she finally decided it was time to do an Ironman. Said that while she's not announcing any kind of retirement, that she couldn't retire without doing one, and that finally it was time. And she did win that race. She's off to the World Championships for Ironman later this year. But right now, her legs don't seem too shabby at all. Seems like she's found some really impressive power here and made her way right up to the front of the race. And now we do have a trio, and it looks, as I say that, as if she's going to make the pass. And we will see her leading on home soil very, very soon. Yeah, that's so exciting, isn't it? As we said, not quite sure of exactly the condition that Paula was going to arrive here in Vancouver, but if the evidence of the first 27 or so kilometres of this race is anything to go by, she's in fantastic form as she just makes the pass there on Kate Waugh. He's going to have to drop back a touch just so that red light stops flashing. I think that's Imogen. Sorry, white bike. Beg your pardon. White bike, Imogen Simmonds. Come on, Matt, we're going to have to write it down. We're going to have to do a little bingo, aren't we? Of goodness me. Apologies, everyone. Keep your eye on the white bike of Imogen Simmonds. There you go. I'll remind you. You remind me. We'll get through this together. Together, we've got this sorted. But there we go. Group at the front, doing very well, and currently leading the way here in Vancouver. Just trying to work out who's at the front of that pack. I'm not sure they're in the race. We're going to find out soon enough. There we go. They pulled right over to the side.
Might just be
Looks like
doing
they're wearing
their
long sleeves. I think they
Saturday
found themselves.
Saturday morning ride.
They found themselves in the middle of a T100.
I mean, it happens to the best of us.
I mean, it's happened for me when, you know, I've been out on a Sunday ride and I found myself in the middle of sort of a regional kind of road race or something. Everyone's got numbers pinned onto them, but not quite to this level. We're in a T100 closed roads with cameras. How did you get there, sir?
Well, there we go. Another competitor. And that is Kate Waugh, isn't it? At the front now. Yes, there we go. All right, fine. So there we go. Kate at the front might have just had a word there and said, get out the road. You're in the middle of an incredibly competitive race here. We obviously encourage people getting out on their bikes, but perhaps not on this particular stretch of road right now at this very moment.
You can hear the horns. I think the beep 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 says, excuse me. If we like that you enjoy being out on your bike. And Vancouver famous actually for its sort of outdoorsy nature. There's so much that you can do out in the great outdoors in Vancouver and enjoy the fresh air. But there you are, sir. Perhaps not on the racecourse at this moment.
Well, this might be the point which we say goodbye to our friend.
We would hope so.
There we go.
There we go. Pulls through the cones at the end, and he can be on with his Saturday ride. Good
to have some company here at the front of the race, but yes, there we go. Normal service has resumed, and again, this is going to be a fascinating insight, isn't it, to exactly those gaps. You can see the leaders there going past on the other side of the road. There's Hannah Berry.
So Julie Derron has just gone round the turn in front. We've got Georgia Taylor-Brown, Alana Siffert, Hannah Berry, Lena Meisner, all about to go round, and then Sarah Perez-Sala.
Yeah.
So much improved ride actually from Sarah Perez-Sala after not really enjoying that course in Pamplona, and then of course Bianca Bogan on the back of that group as well. I know she said in Pamplona she didn't think that the course suited her, even though she desperately wanted to be there as a Spanish athlete to race on home soil, but that it wasn't really the course for her. But this is such a tough course, really hilly, really meaty course, but she's holding on really, really well to that group today. Paula Findlay, of course, with her matching bike and kit. That is very fresh. I'm enjoying that everything fits perfectly together with bike and suit in harmony.
And the maple leaf just on the back there.
Yeah, she's the sole Canadian representative in this race today.
So stunning view as the tide is out here in Vancouver. What an epic view that is across the bay to the skyline of downtown Vancouver. Not that the athletes have really got much time to take a view there. Paula Findlay is making her way right to the very front of this race, and we're going to have our sole Canadian athlete take the lead here in Canada. And this is a really exciting sight. Might perhaps have taken Kate Waugh by surprise, but she's out in front of the race.
History waits at the finish line.
There's everything to play for.
So, as you would have seen there, the race to Qatar is well and truly on. We're just at the halfway point of the T100 season. We're in the Gold Coast to start the year. We were then in Spain. That was our last race, but now we are here in Vancouver. We go to Dubai next for the women before ending up in Qatar at the end of the year. That's when the big prizes are handed out. And there's so much more racing to go, as it were, in order to decide those places. Imo Simmonds currently sitting at the top of the race to Qatar. Georgia Taylor-Brown, Taylor Knibb tied on 35 points. It's really, really tight, and a win, maybe a win here for Georgia, a win here for Imo Simmonds could really, make a commanding impression on that race to Qatar standing.
Yeah, I mean, when talking about Qatar, you've got to remember that this lady here, Paula Findlay, she didn't finish in Qatar last year. She was basically injured for the back end of last season and managed to struggle her way through those final few races, and then took quite a long time to get sort of healthy again and had a bit of a later start to the season. But since she's got back firing on all cylinders, she's really started to put those results down. She's won a couple of middle distance races. She's obviously done her Ironman debut, and now we're seeing her back for the first time this year on the T100. And it's been such a long time since we've seen her leading one of these races. It's just really great to see her back pushing the pace at the front.
Well, let's hear from her, shall we? Here's Paula talking about what it's like to race on home soil.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think it's important for Canada to have big pro events in this country. I remember starting my career like back when I was a kid, watching World Cups in Edmonton and following the racing from like people that inspired me who are Canadians. So it's really cool for me to be able to come and race on home soil. And I'm not from Vancouver, but my dad is, so I have a lot of family here. And it's after racing all over the world all year, it's really cool to like come back somewhere so familiar and have hometown support.
Oh, it's so good to see Paula having a good season, isn't it? And yeah, right at the sort of latter stages of her career, 37 years old, such an impressive career at that. And yeah, kind of interesting as well to hear her do new things at that stage of your career. I would imagine as an athlete, you sort of get used to the routine and the rhythm of everything that you do, but to put a different spin on your year, what a kind of refreshing take on your season.
Well, that's exactly the word, Matt, refreshing. You know, Paula's been doing this for 20 years or so now, and I was listening to her talking about it on her own podcast, saying that it's really reinvigorated her and given her something exciting for her training, because she's been doing a lot of the same things for a lot of years and focusing on the same distance, and was always a bit scared to step up and do something different. And that's reinvigorated her and really given her a bit of a love for the passion of training and the motivation to get out the door and see what she's capable of and what's possible for her. And I think that's trickling down into the other races she's doing. I mean, I can't remember the last time we saw her leading actually at the very front of a T100 race. She's had a couple of podiums, but I haven't seen her lead a T100 race like this on the bike in a long time now. And yeah, that's pretty exciting to see, and I think that shows a level of confidence from Paula. And obviously probably a bit of excitement as well. Like we said, she's racing at home. She said there in that interview how important it is for Canada to have races at home so that it can inspire the next generation of people. And we've seen that across the world pretty much unanimously. Whenever you have a race in a country, the athletes who are from that country, there we go, there's a bit of inspiration for you right there.
Perfect timing.
Yes. It nearly always happens that the athletes from that country sort of surpass expectations. They raise their level a little bit. There's a bit of home advantage, and Paula Findlay really trying to make the most of that today.
Yeah, best result on the T100 actually came last year in France. She got second place there.
Yeah.
Other good results, fourth in San Francisco last year. She finished fourth at the very first T100 back in 2024. It's a distance that perhaps hasn't always been the kindest to her. I think that's probably fair to say. Perhaps doesn't suit her strengths as much as some of the other athletes. But
well, you say that, but before it was the T100, when we were going back to, PTO Opens and all of that in 2022, 2023, she podiumed a couple of times in those races, and she actually won the inaugural sort of PTO race back in Daytona late in 2020. So she has got good history and good form over this distance, but you are right to say that since we became the T100 early in 2024, she has only been on that podium once. And I would expect that there is more in the locker, more in the tank for Paula.
Is that a speed thing? The fact that this sort of T100 seems to lean more towards kind of short course style racing.
We've brought a lot of short course athletes in, haven't we? We've attracted those short course athletes who before perhaps felt like there wasn't an incentive for them to step up into this distance. now with the circuit that we have, with this tour, with the money that's on the line for them, with the exposure they can get from racing, the excitement of getting to race against all these different athletes from different distances, that's attracted all these short course athletes that maybe wouldn't have come into it before, and that's just done nothing but raise the level. Yeah, well, Kate Waugh, one of those athletes, just overtook Paula there just to go out in front, and Imo Simmonds is going to do the same. So we did have a Canadian leading the Vancouver T100. We've now not got a Canadian leading the T100, but she's still in a fantastic position as the leaders chopped and changed between these three athletes over the course of the last half an hour, 40 minutes or so that we've been on the bike. There we go. And that's the sight of Julie Derron. It is. She's come to join this party right at the very front, so expect to see her just make the pass here on Paula Findlay on this descent. That's a sight, as we've said, we were used to seeing quite often, the sight of Julie Derron coming from a little bit further back, not quite being at the very front of the swim, but becoming a factor as the race went on. And she's put herself right in the very front now. We've got 4 athletes all within a few seconds of each other at the front of this race as we start the 3rd lap, Vicky Holland, of this race. Yeah, and I was just waiting to see with this overhead image now whether we were going to catch sight of the chasers to get kind of an idea of how big that gap has gone. And I'm just trying to see if that's someone. No, I think that's still one of the motorbikes, so they're not quite in sight yet. But you're right, they're about to go and sort of perform this. It's not really a U-turn, sort of using the car park, so it's not quite a dead turn in the road. And they will get eyes on the girls coming down the hill towards them, and they will get a clock on it. They'll know exactly what that gap is. They'll have checked behind, they'll have seen that Julie Derron has joined the party at the front, and they will know that it's the likes of Alana Siffert and Georgia Taylor-Brown that they're going to be worrying about, whether they're coming to join as well. There you go, there they are. You can just see them in the back of your shot there. There we are. So we'll get an updated time split in just a second. It's not far away at all, are they? They are not far away at all, you're absolutely right. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because we could be in a situation here, just as we sort of approach the halfway mark, where we really get a nice concertina effect of all of these athletes working together right to the end, which sets us up beautifully for the run, I dare say. Doesn't it? Wouldn't it be nice to have a really good run battle? I mean, there are so many athletes within a minute right now. 11 athletes within 53 seconds of the front of this race. I can't remember the last time they were that tightly packed over halfway into the bike. So should that be the case as they hit the run, it's going to be very exciting and really anyone's game. Yeah, don't go anywhere. This race really is starting to play out in a really exciting way. We're going to start to understand the different gaps as this bike leg goes on. Julie Derron has put herself right in the middle of, I think that's Kate Waugh now back at the front, and Imo Simmonds. I mean, this lead chopping and changing, Vicky, it's serving all of the athletes, is it, to take a turn at the front and just kind of set the pace, try and set the pace to keep as far away as you can from that chasing pack. Yeah, definitely. It's showing that they are all taking turns, they're all working pretty evenly. I mean, I'd argue that maybe Kate's done the most on the front, especially given she was on the front for probably all of about the first 10 kilometres or so. But since that point, we've seen all of these athletes on the front, probably bar Julie Derron, but as I say it, she's about to go to the front now. It looks like she's just catching up to Kate Waugh. You can see the flashing light behind Kate Waugh there, and Julie has pulled wide, so it does look like Julie's about to take her first turn on the front as well. And it feels like this group is poised to do something. The strength of the girls in this bike pack, it feels like they should be able to start putting some real time into the girls behind. But so far, it kind of just hasn't quite happened. We wondered if it might happen with Kate going solo. We then wondered if it might happen with her and Imogen. Then Paula joined, and we thought maybe this is the time. Hasn't happened yet. Here we go with Georgia Taylor-Brown. So Georgia is in that sort of second group at 25-26 seconds back, and she's brought that gap down nicely, but she just hasn't quite been able to make contact with the front. Well, we've got good memories, haven't we, from Georgia racing last time out in Spain. That was her
first ever T100 win. Started with a Macarena. It was a sign of a party to come, because it was, I guess, sort of a coming of age of the 100-kilometre distance, wasn't it, Vicky?
It was, and we said it earlier on today. She has improved steadily with every race she did, and this is the moment we spoke about, where she sort of bounced past Julie Derron up the hill. She got hot on the last lap, she said. She did look like she was struggling at the end, but then that smile told it all. She was a very happy camper beside the running of the bulls in Pamplona, and she was our T100 Spain champion.
Yeah, she certainly was. It was a really, really impressive win, and yeah, I certainly feel like, as we said, you know, trending in that direction. Looked like that was in the locker. Looked like it was coming, and we said it at the time, didn't we, in Spain? A happy Georgia is a very fast Georgia, and I think that proved exactly to be the case. So just interestingly, looking at her, you know, her season. I mean, she's been racing a lot of short course as well. She was 6th in London, 7th in Quiberon, 6th in Alghero, and 4th in Samarkand. So really strong,
very consistent,
really
as well.
strong results. But I mean, she's obviously getting very, very good at this middle distance as well.
I think
at what point does she start to direct her energy? I'm thinking with the Olympics not too far away, does she go all in on short course, or does she perhaps recognise that she's got a brilliant talent for middle?
Well, I think at this point, especially this year, she can absolutely do these T100 races, and she's clearly enjoying them, enjoying that slightly different focus. In the same way we spoke about with Paula Findlay doing something a bit new by doing an Ironman this year. For Georgia, doing more of these T100 races is new, is different. For someone who's been, you know, racing over short course, draft league or racing since they were in their early teens, it's nice to have a different focus and to learn something a bit different. And that will be invigorating for her, I'm sure. But she has spoken about her desire to try and make a 3rd Olympic Games, and with that, probably from at least midway through next season, we might see her focusing a little bit more on that short distance stuff. But right now, she seems to be able to kind of get the best of both. She hasn't quite hit the podium in the short course racing, so I wonder if maybe they're starting to turn their attention to that, her and her team, her coach Glenn. Maybe she will start to pull back a little bit from the T100, but I would imagine that's sort of a temporary thing while she maybe looks ahead to LA.
Yeah, that quality of that short course, particularly in the women's field. I mean, Cassandra Beaugrand at the moment absolutely bossing it, isn't she? Took home 15:27 5K at that sprint in the Docklands in London only a few weeks ago. That is the level of short course at the moment, and it's so quick.
The speed that the girls are running in short course, I mean, you said that 15:27, yes, but we all know that sometimes in short course the distances aren't entirely accurate, but what we do know she's got is about a 14:50 road 5K, which was a national record when she did it. So, yeah, phenomenal running pedigree in short course racing, that's for sure.
Intimidatingly so.
Very
I
much.
wouldn't want to be Georgia Taylor-Brown.
No, I'm quite glad I've retired, actually.
Taking to the start line. Okay, so we're confirming not coming back from retirement.
There will be
Vicky.
no comeback. No.
I'm sure you've got it in your locker. If
You've got great confidence in me, thank you, but no.
You never know. You never know. Anyway, we'll turn our attention back to the 100-kilometre distance. And yeah, right now, this lead pack is doing everything they need to do to stay in the lead at the moment. But just keep your eye on that second pack of Alana Siffert, Hannah Berry, Lena Meisner, Georgia Taylor-Brown, Bianca Bogan as well, all not too far away. And as the race goes on, they're going to become more and more of a factor. So good look at this little bendy section of the course. A decent amount of elevation. We've heard a few of the athletes speak about this being a pretty tough bike course at that. There's a lot of elevation, a lot of quite technical little sections, and you've seen a few times a couple of the athletes just having to be careful as they make some of these sharper turns, perhaps not so much on the uphills, but definitely on the descents. Keeps you focused.
Yeah, definitely enough for keeping the attention. We've got long ascents, we've got the slightly technical section up by the university, and then back when we do our U-turn at the bottom of the course, and then we've got the fast descents as well that you can still pedal through all those descents as well, so it's not like you get a moment to have a bit of a breather. I mean, for example, some of the other courses like maybe San Francisco, where it's a bit steeper, they freewheel down those descents because it's just too fast. There's no point in trying to pedal, whereas on this course you can pedal all the way down, so you really got to hold your focus, but definitely a lot to keep you entertained maybe.
Got to do something when you're pushing the sort of power that these women are doing. You've got to distract your mind somehow, distract your mind from the pain. And Kate Waugh there just sitting on the back of this group. We've said this is sort of the start of her season coming to Vancouver. I mean, middle of August is how no athlete really wants to start their season. Certainly not this late, but I mean, it's a great setting to do it. I guess that's the one positive, but also coming into it, you know, at this stage of the season, you really get to test yourself, don't you, against the very best and work out where you stand.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of these athletes, like a Julie Derron, has been very unapologetic about how she's built her season towards the end of the year. Like all these races coming towards the end of the year, those are the ones that she's trying to peak for. And for someone like a Kate Waugh to come into this race and know that she's racing against athletes who are coming close to their very, very best, and that she's holding her own with them at the moment, that's really impressive, and that will give her a lot of hope and a lot of confidence, I think, going into the other races that she's got coming up. Now, of course, we've not got to the run leg yet, and Kate has been pretty honest and said that she's only really done a couple of weeks of harder running, whilst her overall fitness is good. The run specifics are slightly missing still for her, and that's going to be where it'll be really interesting to know how she fares, whether that pedigree that she's got as an exceptional runner just sort of carries her through along with the fitness, or whether it really, really impacts on her and we see the likes of Julie Derron maybe run away from her.
Yeah, Julie, fantastic to see her back on the T100. Made a 2026 debut in Spain. Missed the Gold Coast at the start of the season. But like you say, Vicky, she's certainly an athlete that seems to be trending towards the back end of the year, getting herself in the right sort of shape in the latter stages, because that's where the prizes are handed out. So there you go, a fantastic look at the backdrop here in Vancouver. That is the skyline of the downtown area.
Look how far that tide's gone out.
I know, it's a good job we're not swimming now, isn't it? Or maybe it's a good job. I mean,
yeah, they would have done a lot of running
very
on a lot
different kind of swim.
Yeah.
And you know, speaking of swimming, speaking of the city of Vancouver, we've got thousands of amateur athletes taking part across various distances this weekend. We've got the 100k, we've got Olympic, we've got sprint, junior, kids triathlon events. There are so many different types of races, and there are plenty of ways you can get involved as well. I speak as someone who is fresh off the back of doing the T100 in London. What an incredible, thank you, yes, what an incredible experience it was. And yeah, add Vancouver to the bucket list, I would say, because this course, this city, this skyline, this environment, this is somewhere you want to do your triathlon racing. So let's have a look, shall we, at what awaits the age groupers here.
T100, it's almost like the Christmas of triathlon. It was just, she killed it, epic. I want to do it again and again.
The atmosphere of this event is like insane.
Once you've done one, it's addictive. You're buzzing once you finish.
It was an absolutely brilliant experience. I've never known anything like it.
You don't have to be like an elite athlete. You can do it in your own time, your own pace.
Remember, this girl did never swim in open water, didn't know how to cycle, so please don't waste that opportunity.
Just do it and you will feel so alive, I promise you.
Couldn't agree more. And great to see Chris Robshaw give triathlon a go, former England rugby captain. A big lad to be getting round a triathlon. Go and check out his Instagram account if you fancy it, because there's some really good content on there for exactly how he found the process from going from zero to, I guess you could call him a triathlon hero. There you go. You can have that one, Chris. But yeah, brilliant to see so many different people getting involved and joining the triathlon community, getting the bug. If you fancy racing in Vancouver in 2027, scan that QR code on your screen or visit t100triathlon.com/Vancouver and get involved, because I tell you what, once you start, it's very, very hard to stop.
It's an addictive sport we've got here, that's for sure. That's what we aim for. We aim to hook people in and keep them in.
You've certainly done that.
Will you be going for the back-to-back next year?
The triple?
Yeah, the triple?
Yes, 100%.
You'll be back for more?
100%. I miraculously managed to knock 20 minutes off my time this year. So I need to do another 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yeah, but
that's very impressive.
Thank you. Anyway, enough about me. Enough about my minor athletic achievements compared to the likes of these incredible athletes that we see on their screens. I mean, 20 minutes in the world of elite triathlon is an absolute age.
Well, if you were knocking 20 minutes off your PB as an elite athlete, we'd all be really mightily impressed. But I mean, it's actually about the realm of what Alana Siffert did in Waugh this year, where she really moved her run on, and it's going to be so interesting to see where her run is today, because she was able to do that before. There we go, here she is in Pamplona. So that's her riding with Julie Derron right at the front of the race. Her, Julie and George Taylor-Brown formed a trio up front. They all came into transition together. Such a distinctive bike riding style from Alana Siffert. And there she goes, racking that bike into T2. Out onto the run, she was passed by Julie Derron and also by George Taylor-Brown, but she held strong. She had a much better run than we've seen from her before, crossing the line, having completely emptied the tank in 5th place. And it was shortly after that she went off to Roth and did that full distance race where she shocked the world, I think it's fair to say. She ran a 2:45 marathon at the end of that race, which was absolutely world class. There are so few women in the world who could run that time off the bike in a full long distance race, and so it was super impressive. And I think everyone is just waiting to see every time she races now whether she can do it again, whether she can replicate it, and where her run legs are going to be, because she's so new to the sport realistically, and she's spoken about this quite openly, how it's been such a learning curve for her to really learn how to run, how to be fast in running, and the improvements she's made have been astronomical, but they're not always consistent, and sometimes with that kind of speed of rise to the top of the sport comes a few backward steps every now and again, and it might be that every now and again in a race we might see a little bit of a less than exciting run from her.
Yeah, she's done a few of the triathlon podcasts recently. The one I listened to was with Jackie Herring. I'd encourage you to go and give it a listen if you want to find out a bit more about Alana Siffert. The fascinating line I thought from that was the fact that as a fairly newcomer to triathlon, she didn't own a road bike until she started triathlon in earnest, which was only about 5 or 6 years ago. That just shows you the sort of how fresh she is to this sport.
Yeah.
And you think about, from a coaching perspective, she was sort of this athlete who was a blank canvas, right? Who you could teach and coach, but sort of the difficult bit, the physiology was already there. The question was then race execution, like you say, learning how to run properly, learning how to perfect your swim, and obviously now being such an incredible biker, it kind of blows my mind that the speed of the ascent of her learning and ability is just phenomenal.
I think most people are shocked by that, because it's so hard to do that, and to do it as fast as she's done, it's been so impressive. But we should of course mention that on screen right now we've got Bianca Bogan, and as you can see she's 17th at the last race out in T100 Spain, but she was also 5th at the season opener in Gold Coast. She's a mum of 2, Bianca, actually. Of course, the sister of Rico, we're used to seeing him on the men's tour as well. And they've got quite a triathlon family, haven't they? The results that these siblings can put out.
Yeah. Good.
Good pedigree for those children as well.
I was going to say, yeah. Goodness me. Yeah, you wouldn't bet against the kids also being very, very good triathletes or endurance sport specialists as well, would you?
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's often the example, not just the DNA and what's in the blood, but it's also what the example that they see, what they see their parents doing, and they're certainly going to grow up seeing mum being a bit of a superhero, and they're going to think that's pretty cool, I'm sure.
Yeah, Also had a win recently, 17.3 in Sweden. So it's been a decent season for Bianca Bogan, and she's very much here on the T100 now, looking at home. The bike, we know she is a very powerful cyclist. Just about putting that perfect race together.
Yeah, she does a mix of racing as well. She still does some of the short course stuff, the Bundesliga racing in Germany, and doing all of these sort of middle distance, whether it's T100 or 70.3 racing. She races over quite a big breadth of differences of racing, and seems to be really quite adept at putting good results together, no matter what that distance is. And you know, her youngest child was only born in January of 2025, so only just over 1.5 now, and she's someone who I really think has improved almost as they've become a mum. She's sort of got that mum power, and seems to be as good, if not better now, than she ever was.
Yeah, fascinating to see where she can go in her career.
So this is Paula Findlay now, so we're back at the front of the race. And it looks like Kate Waugh is maybe just stretching things a little bit, because that's a decent gap.
It certainly is. Kate Waugh there with a bigger lead than we've seen at the front of this race. Yeah, it's a good spot that, Vicky. Just seeing Paula dropping back in that group, which had been so tight, hadn't it, for so long.
That was it, yeah.
Imogen Simmonds a part of that. She's now 12 seconds back at the last count. And actually what we were sort of thinking might happen earlier on in the race, where they might all come together, maybe Kate's taken the initiative, has sort of used her 100-kilometre experience of last year and gone, hold on a minute, we don't want to let all of these athletes right back at us. We need to put the gas on.
And as you can see, that gap has gone out a bit to those girls behind. So we've got Bianca Bogan now at 5th, in at 36 seconds back, and that was the speed as they're going down this hill, and I've said that they can pedal down virtually all of it, not this particular bit, this tiny bit there. That is the absolute steepest part of the course, but she's already pedaling again. But yeah, 70 kilometers an hour. So I think she's decided the time is now. You know, you're absolutely right. That gap back to that sort of group of 5 or 6 we've got behind had gone to about 20 to 25 seconds, and I think Kate had decided that if she's going to make a move, it has to be now. And it's so far no one's quite managed to bridge that and go with her.
Is this a tactic, do you think, she would have tried to calculate before the race started? You know, would she have gone, okay, right, with 30k to go, that's sort of the moment where I feel like I want to, or she might have been calculating it on the bike. I mean, how premeditated do you think that sort of move is? Do you think it's instinctive? It depends how you feel, I guess, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, well, remember that time is going to update really shortly, because they're going to go round with 1 lap to go, I think. So I think we're going to count down quite quickly now in terms of, I think there's a bit less than 30k to go now. But I doubt she had that particular point picked out previously. She might have done, but I suspect what's happened is she's taken into account what's been going on in the race around her, and she's seen that they've sort of yo-yoed a little bit to that group behind them. They haven't really started taking out the time. In the races Kate's done before, it's steadily gone out and out and out. So she's been at the front of the race, and it's gone from being 20 seconds to 30 seconds, up to a minute, up to 2 minutes, up to 3 minutes, maybe even into transition. And that's just not happened today. And I wonder if she said, right, enough's enough. If I'm going to put down some kind of lead that I'm happy to take into T2 with me, I've got to go on my own, and I've got to do it now.
Yeah, she'll be using all of that experience of her World Championship winning year last year, making the 100-kilometre distance, that transition from short course. Both Kate and Hayden Wild, our champions from last year, both coming from a short course background, making it look rather easy, I think it's fair to say. But we all know the truth is far harder than that. It's not an easy sport. Just ask those athletes behind right now.
So Sarah Perez-Sala going through there in 8th place, and I think it's Georgia Taylor-Brown who'll be coming through just after her.
Just looking down there at Georgia Taylor-Brown, I mean, this lead, you know, a minute back now from Kate Waugh at the front. It's about time you'd want to start to see Georgia start to push through, perhaps. I mean, see a very different race to what we saw in Spain.
Yeah, it's totally different to come off the bike a minute down than as she did in Pamplona, where she was right at the front there. and I'm not sure it'd be the ideal situation for her to be where she'd want to be at this point in the race, but a minute is far from over, it's far from done, and I think if she could hold it to around a minute over this sort of last section of the bike course, I think she'd be still pretty confident that she can deliver some kind of solid result at the end of the day.
She'll know, of course, as well that Kate Waugh isn't perhaps in the best running shape.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the secret. We all know with what Kate's been going through this year that she's probably not quite at her absolute best yet.
Okay, well, let's have a look back, shall we, at her 2025 breakout T100 season.
Kate Waugh wins the T100 here in Singapore. It was almost a victory. Lucy Charles-Barclay had something to say about that. A flawless performance for Kate Waugh here in Australia.
I can't be disappointed. I gave my everything today.
Kate Waugh has obliterated the field today. Our T100 World Champion.
Well, when you see those images, it really takes you back to last year, doesn't it? Are those the sort of images when you're injured and having the sort of tough year that Kate had? Are those the images you actually need to kind of erase from your memory a bit? You need to focus on the here and now, or is stuff like that, thinking about the past, good? What would you have preferred when you were injured?
Oh, I think you have to, as much as you might not want to, I think you have to go and look back at those things, because I look at that and it gives me goosebumps and it makes me feel those emotions that I remember feeling at the time that Kate did those things, and seeing that smile and the tears in her eyes and that sparkle of joy that she had and pride at what she was doing. I think you've got to go back and look at those things, and she's so lucky in so many ways that she's got it on television. You know, she's got it where she can see it, where she can find it. A lot of people have to just go into their memory bank and remember what it felt like when they did what they did. For most people in the world, to kind of get through those harder times, Kate can go and find it online, on the internet, anywhere. Go back and rewatch the races, rewatch her interviews, and she can take some of that feeling that she had of excitement, and I said of pride, and just, you know, the relief at delivering what she did, and remember who she is as an athlete and what she can do, and take that into both her training and her approach into racing.
I mean, she gave it everything last year. Not, I mean, in a sort of physical, mental, emotional sense, but I'm just kind of, my mind is cast back to the finish line, and that sort of being unwell on the finish line, and just that kind. It was
she
just
gave
so gutsy.
Yeah.
It was, you know, there was 0% left on the battery at the end of 2025, wasn't there? That just goes to show the depths that she went to, and also, you know, the respect that the other athletes pushed her to. Lucy Charles-Barclay, you know, Julie Derron, the women who finished second and third in the race to Qatar in 2025, who pushed her all the way. But that was last year, and this is 2026. Great to see Kate Waugh back on a start line here on the T100. So, making a move is Kate Waugh at the front here. That lead just edging up a little bit from Paula Findlay, 11 seconds at the last count. Julie Derron also 11 seconds back. Imo Simmonds 13 seconds back, and then really it's sort of the best of the rest, isn't it? Really, with sort of 40 seconds back, I should say, to Bianca Bogan, Alana Siffert, Hannah Berry, Sarah Perez-Sala, Georgia Taylor-Brown, Luna Meisner. They're all in that group, all sort of waiting and ready to pounce should the moment present itself.
Yeah, definitely, and I think at this point we can say that for the first time that gap is going the other way. So the front four are taking a bit, well, I say the front four, really it's Kate Waugh who's taking the time out of the others, but then you've got Paula Findlay, Julie Derron and Imo Simmonds who are still holding firm ahead of that other group, and it's probably Alana Siffert and Georgia Taylor-Brown that I'm looking at and saying that I think this is a slightly disappointing ride for both of those two athletes. And with Alana Siffert, you can easily look at it and say, what a year she's had, the most unbelievable results, but also incredibly difficult racing that she's done, with full distance race in Roth and the Alpe d'Huez Triathlon just 10 days ago. And with Georgia Taylor-Brown, with that kind of split focus we've spoken about, with trying to race as much as she can on short course circuit to get her points back, to try and pursue that Olympic dream again. and race consistently in the T100 as well, perhaps it's just starting to take its toll a little bit. I mean, it's still so early in this race to say that, but I just feel like the Georgia Taylor-Brown we saw in Spain a couple of months ago would have been able to go with the moves of Julie Derron at this point, and she hasn't quite been able to do that today.
It's so hard trying to race short course and middle distance, 100k
well, the
distance.
specifics are so different, yeah.
But I almost feel like few athletes have really succeeded. I mean, Hayden tried to give it a go last year. Didn't quite work, and I know there were sort of there were variables there, particularly having 2 races back to back on the Saturday and Sunday in France made racing short course and T100 distance.
It wasn't easy for him, was it?
We certainly didn't make it easy.
We did make it a bit
him.
brutal, and also we put the T100 first, and then he had to try and recover from the T100 in under 24 hours.
It's tough.
And get himself out there. But you know, the person who's probably done it the best up until this point is actually Taylor Spivey. So she, who is currently in 12th place there, only 2 minutes 30 down. The way she's been running, she could make her way quite far up that leaderboard on the run. And she's done some really impressive stuff at short course so far this year. So she's probably the one who's balancing the best at the moment. But on screen now we've got Hannah Berry. She's held strong really well in that sort of, I guess we'll call them the chase pack, pretty much all day, had a solid swim. She's been there or thereabouts on the bike the entire race so far, and she's another athlete who's been slowly but steadily building her season around these late season races and looks to be coming into good form.
Yeah, first T100 race for Hannah Berry of the 2026 season. A couple of 6th places last year. Looking to make an impression here in 2026.
Yeah, Hannah had an incredibly strong end to, well, actually had a really good beginning and a really good end to the 2025 season. We saw her in Singapore at the opener back in 2025, I should say, not 2024 season, in the 2025 season. She was 4th there in obviously those incredible hot, humid, brutal conditions of Singapore. But then she was also 4th at Kona at the end of the season. So she sort of bookended her season with incredible results. And if that means that that she knows how to get it right at the big races, and that she knows how to build a season towards a pinnacle, and that's what it's all about with the race to Qatar. You've got to plan your year right, and you've got to be able to perform at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'll say it again, but that is where the prizes are handed out, and that's why it's so important. Great shots there of the bay with the tankers in the middle. Great spot if you wanted to go whale watching on one of them.
I know, I think that's what people do, don't they? Go out for whale watching. Maybe not on the tankers.
Maybe not on the tankers.
No, I'll take that back. But they do go out whale watching around here because it is one of the stunning things they have on offer in Vancouver.
Yeah, a little bit later in the year, of course, from when we raced here in June in 2025. So the chances of seeing whales slightly lower.
It's where our orcas are. They've gone off hunting the salmon, and apparently the water's too warm around here at the moment, and the salmon are elsewhere. So we knew that the chances of orcas on course were a bit lower than we had last year, because of course we were here in June in 2025.
Don't think any athlete was unhappy about that.
We might have been a bit unhappy.
I think in the commentary box we are.
The timing of it was just so perfect. They just got out the water about 5 to 10 minutes beforehand, and then we spotted the family of orcas. It was almost too good to be true, but we did know that it would actually pose problems if the orcas were on course at the same time as the athletes, so we didn't really want that.
Yeah, absolutely. Great look there at Kate Waugh. Just absolutely bossing it, really. I think it's fair to say at the front. Yeah, it certainly has, and it will keep getting bigger. I think that's fair to say. I think attention has to turn, doesn't it? I mean, we mentioned her earlier, Taylor Spivey, and what she could potentially do. I mean, that's now 3:07, so that gap is starting to go up a little bit. And
it is, but
where do you think the threat is going to come? I mean, that I think is the big question as we head into sort of the latter stages of this part of the race.
Well, I think what we've been guilty of in so many of these races is not looking at Taylor Spivey, because she's been coming off the bike quite far down. But every single time she's ran through to a really decent result. Now, she's only got on the podium once, but once is enough to tell us that she can do it. And 3 minutes down off the bike is still one of her better results coming off the bike. And I know that she's been able to ride her TT bike a little bit more. I mean, she's still talking about riding it sort of a handful of times between the last race and this one. It's not by any means what a lot of her competitors will be doing. But with that split focus she's got with short course, and with the risk of spending too much time in an aggressive position and risking injury, she's chosen not to spend too much time riding her TT bike, and she knows that means that she does lose time when it comes to the racing in this portion of the race. She doesn't have the time and position that a lot of these girls do, and it means that she comes off the bike with a deficit. But what she then does is almost without fail, she has one of the very fastest run splits, and she moves through lots and lots of positions in that final leg of the race. And you know, at 3 and a bit minutes down, it's still doable. There could still be a top 5, even a podium on the cards.
It would be classic Taylor Spivey, wouldn't it?
It would, trademark.
She's very rarely outside the sort of top 6, top 7 position, both in short course and in T100, which in itself is a remarkable achievement, as we can just see there the concertina of all of those athletes as they make their way out of that sort of tight technical section.
Yeah, they've lost quite a bit of time on that, just half a lap really. It was a minute, and Georgia Taylor-Brown was at the back of that group when they went around the U-turn at the bottom, and it was at a minute, and now she's at the front of the group and it's at a minute 17. So they've definitely lost a fair bit of time on that sort of half a lap, if you like, and I think Georgia's decided enough's enough, and she's moved her way through the group, and she's charging a little bit now, because she'll know that that gap is going out, and that will be making life extremely hard for her when she comes to the run leg.
Yeah. So yeah, Georgia at the front of this. Maybe this is the time, perhaps with the help of Alana Siffert, maybe they can work together and just try to close that gap, because yeah, as you say, Vicky, a minute or over a minute I should say, between this group and Kate Waugh is just going to keep going up and up with the sort of form that Kate Waugh is showing. And Sarah Perez-Sala makes the move over Alana Siffert, and there you go, first penalty of the afternoon.
We felt like it was ominous in a lot of ways, didn't we, that there was going to be a penalty at some point, because the girls in this group, they've been playing it quite close, haven't they, with the amount of time they seem to be spending with those lights flashing, and it just felt that somebody was going to get penalised at some point, and it has been Sarah Perez-Sala who's been awarded that penalty. Yeah,
there you go. So first penalty of the afternoon, Sarah Perez-Sala. That will be a minute in the box. As we were saying, you know, that is a really detrimental to your race. A minute, if you add a minute there, that really does put you back, but I'm sure Sarah will do her best to try and move through the field as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Perhaps use that time to recover a little bit, take on some nutrition, to do as much as she can to reduce that deficit.
I think the real shame for her is that she'd ridden so well up until this point. I really feel like this has been a really strong bike ride from Perez-Sala, but she has been caught out there, so she will stand down for a minute at the end of this lap.
Well, let's update you, shall we, just on the race to Qatar standings. Perhaps if you've just joined us, 42 points. Imo Simmonds sits at the top. Then it's a tie, really, second and third for Georgia Taylor-Brown, Taylor Knibb. 35 points for both of them, and that's just 7 points back. So a big result here for Imo Simmonds, a big result here for Georgia Taylor-Brown. Well, that really could give them a very commanding position in the race to Qatar standings, which ultimately is what we're all here to compete for. It's an athlete's 3 best scores plus the grand final will determine where they finish come the end of the season.
History waits at the finish line.
There's everything to play for.
So there you go, the race really is on. We're back in Qatar at the end of the year, just in the middle of December. And what a stunning view that is. Saturday afternoon, early Saturday afternoon here in Vancouver, just gone 1 o'clock local time.
It's a really cool skyline, isn't it, in Vancouver, you know, and you've got the mixture of urban and rural, you've got the city and the skyline, you've got mountains in the backdrop as well as coastal Pacific views. It's really is a city that's got a bit of everything. It's definitely one to visit, put it on your bucket list.
I think you'd be overwhelmed if you lived in Vancouver. You can go skiing.
I don't think you know how lucky you are. If you've grown up in Vancouver, you've been spoiled.
Yeah, I really think you have. Such an incredible city. And yeah, I mean, you've got a sport for all seasons. You really have, obviously being so close to the mountains, getting such a long winter season. Not really something our triathletes are that familiar with, to be honest. Sort of sun seekers, really, aren't they, around the world, following the good weather, trying to get your training in as much as possible in the warmer climates. It's far more enjoyable than those long winter months. Certainly for us in the UK in January and February when you go out training, it's tough work.
Well, you just spend a lot of time indoors on an indoor bike or on the treadmill, and while that's actually a very good fitness tool, it's not so good for the soul. You know, everyone wants to actually be outdoors, and triathletes by nature, we are outdoor creatures. We thrive in the outdoors, and so it can be a bit soul destroying spending your whole life training indoors if you're actually trying to train for a triathlon.
Where was your favourite place to train?
Ooh, there's a few. Very much a fan of the Swiss mountains. St-Moritz, probably my absolute favourite place on the planet, but I have been spoilt and I've been to quite a few lovely places as well.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say it's a tough life being a triathlete, but it genuinely is a tough life being a triathlete.
I mean, you work for it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you
It's
work,
not a holiday, is it?
It's not a holiday. You work pretty hard at it, but I think I was relatively good at appreciating that it was an incredible privilege and an amazing life that I got to live, the places I got to go, the people I got to share it with, the pursuit of a passion. I think when you sort of look back on it when you're old and grey, and you can think, well, actually I got to pursue a passion that's pretty special, and maybe that's the hindsight I have now that I'm retired. But no, I think I appreciated it quite well when I was still doing it as well. But yeah, never trained in Canada. Would have loved to, especially this particular area of Canada, which is, I guess, I just keep saying, renowned for being just absolutely beautiful and got a little bit of something for everyone.
Yeah, it's the beauty of social media now, isn't it? And, you know, looking on the T100 Instagram account, you can just see all of the ways in which these athletes train, the places they've been in the lead up to these races. Like, as we were saying, Georgia Taylor Brown taking some time a couple of weeks ahead of this race in the local area, making the most of it, as you can just see down at the bike there. 72 kilometers per hour, these athletes, 73 I should say, as it just ticks over there. They are descending down this hill. I mean, it looks fast on the motorbike through a camera lens. I imagine when you're locked in, I mean, I personally haven't been 70 kilometers per hour on a bike.
That's your next target then,
well,
Matt.
yes, steady on. I think let's not run before we can walk ahead of next year's T100 in London. But yeah, I mean, it's quick, isn't it? And it requires some really good bike handling skills from these athletes, particularly on the TT bike, which is a heavier and harder bike to handle than perhaps a traditional road bike.
It is, and as you notice, Kate spent all of that descent in the TT bars and position. She didn't go onto her hoods at all during that, which firstly goes to show that she is a very good bike handler, but also it shows that it's not the most technical of descents. So whilst it's very fast, and so therefore it's easy to almost feel a bit scary and like you're out of control, the rational part of your brain has to go, actually, there's no big sharp corners here. I can do this in TT position. And Kate did that brilliantly there. She didn't flinch. She stayed locked in aero position as she went down that descent at 70k an hour.
It's rapid, but it's rapid for a good reason, because 27 seconds now, the gap between Kate Waugh and Paula Findlay, that gap just keeps on going up.
It's just a nice little cushion she's starting to develop now, and you know, it might not win her the race, but what it does is it means the other athletes will have to chase her, and that's a really great position to be in. And if nothing else, this is just going to give her the confidence that she is back to a really good level. She's been able to lead the swim, she's been able to lead the bike, and whatever is in store for her run, well, she knows she's not at 100% yet with her run, but she's got 2/3 of the race down, and she's got all these races coming all the way through until December, with both a mix of these T100 races, and she's going back to do some short course as well. She's got so many races to keep progressing and moving through each time.
How long does it take for that run to come back, would you say? Given she's kind of, well, I don't know, I mean, she's only been doing sessions she's not been doing them for very long heading into this race, has she? So how many weeks do you think on top of this until she gets back to her peak form? I say all this, she might be on a peak form already, and we might be about to, she might be about to prove us wrong.
Yeah, no, that's a really difficult question because it depends from person to person. So as a general rule, the more natural a runner you are, the more quickly it will come back. And Kate is someone who is a very natural runner. She's got great running pedigree. She always has done from when she was, a teenager, just starting out in the sport. Her run has always been a strength for her. And the fact that she's got a really good fitness base right now means that it's unlikely it's going to take her too long. Here we go, Sarah Perez-Sala just pulling into the penalty box, and yeah, heartbreaking really, because she's done so well in that pack for this entire race so far. And she's going to have to ride the final lap on her own. As she watches that stopwatch countdown, it'll feel like an absolute eternity, won't it, that minute in transition? But she's doing the right thing. She's taking on some nutrition. She's had that bottle there.
Yeah, super experienced athlete is Sarah Perez-Sala.
And there's nothing you can do. The worst thing you can do right now is get stressed, get irate with an official.
Which we see quite often, don't we?
We see people chatting to the camera and questioning their penalties. But at this point, the perfect thing to do is to breathe, try and get that heart rate down a little bit. There you go. We've seen her take more water on board. She's taken a nutrition bottle, she's taken a water bottle, and then she'll just get back out there on course and do what she can for the final lap.
Easy.
Easy peasy, just like that.
How to do a penalty, according to Vicky Holland, and yeah, I wouldn't argue against it. Textbook stuff there, but yeah, really disappointing for Sarah Perez-Sala, I'm sure, as she gets back pedalling. She served that minute penalty, and now it's really about limiting the damage as she tries to catch up to the rest of the pack. We'll see how much effort she's going to have to put in here in order to do exactly that. But for the time being, Kate Waugh out in front, 32 seconds the lead at the last count, just ahead of Paula Findlay and Imo Simmonds. So right back at the front of the race with Kate Waugh.
That's her sister there, I think she's talking to on the side of the road, and she was sort of asking for her to angle, I think, the boards a bit better so that she could see the split that she was writing there for her. That's sort of what it looked like. But yeah, so she's got a support crew in her sister out there in Canada with her, out here in Canada, I should say, on the side of the course. And
it's hard for it not to sound aggressive when you're going past at that speed.
And also when your heart rate is pumping and the adrenaline is pumping, you might even think that you're saying something quite calmly, and actually it comes out a little bit maybe snappier than you think. And yeah, the loved ones of professional athletes have to be very tolerant people and very forgiving people, because there are some moments, shall we say.
Speaking from experience, Vicky.
You'd have to ask my husband. I have no further comment to make.
Okay, we'll ask him in due course.
Yeah, no, I mean, going back to your previous question about Kate and how long it's going to take her for her run to come back, I mean, it's so hard to know, but without any further setbacks, should she get through this race today, unscathed and putting in a really hard, solid 18-kilometre run, that will be like a session in itself, like almost an extra long, extra strong session in itself, because racing really can help bring you on as well. And I imagine that it is probably only going to be a matter of weeks before we start to see her getting close back to her best. She said she's done a couple of weeks of sessions, not really much more than that. She's obviously going to race here today, or she's midway through racing here today. I would imagine by the time we next see her in Dubai, she's in pretty good shape there.
Yeah, she might try and throw in a few short course races, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of the plan for her as well. As we said, she's an athlete just trying to juggle both those series, both those World Tours.
You've got nothing to lose at this stage of the season. I think it's probably fair to say she's going to lose her T100 championship crown from last year, which obviously will be a hugely disappointing realisation across the season.
Yeah.
But that's the reality. You just got to take your medicine, haven't you, and move on motivate yourself to put together a really strong end of year performance.
That's it. I mean, she knows it's so extremely unlikely for her to win the title again, to retain that title. It would rely on her basically winning everything that's left and other athletes having some really quite poor performances, or some kind of injury wiping out the whole the whole group in front of her, because she just can't get enough scores to win. No matter what, she's going to end up with one score less than some of her competitors. So that's why it's going to be so difficult for her to win. But at that point, she's got nothing to lose now. You might as well just go absolutely all in on every race, make it hard for people, make it entertaining, get as fit as she possibly can, and show the world that she's back.
Yeah, certainly. She's certainly doing everything she possibly can at the moment at the front of this race, putting in this brilliant surge just in the final lap here in Vancouver. So I mentioned that surge that Kate Waugh has put in at the end of this lap. 31 seconds, the gap now to Paula Findlay, Imo Simmonds 40 seconds back, Julie Derron 44 seconds, Sarah Perez-Sala. That will, I think, update after that penalty is reflected at the last timing count. She'll move at least a minute back from that, just to reflect the drafting penalty that she picked up. Bianca Bogan, minute 20 back. Georgia Taylor-Brown, 1:23 back. And there you go, that's a good little visual representation of how far the athletes are back from our leader, Kate Waugh, out in front here. And it's a long way, isn't it, for Georgia Taylor-Brown, but it's not insurmountable, and I think that's the really key thing to point out. If you actually look, we don't know, as we've been discussing all afternoon, we do not know the sort of running form that Kate Waugh is in, but say she isn't in her peak running form, well, actually Georgia should start to look perhaps a little bit further back at that running gap, and all of a sudden that gap seems a little bit more realistic, and Georgia is a phenomenal runner. So I guess we're going to start to find out, aren't we, as the running shoes go on and the bike legs start to kind of rear their ugly head, exactly what's left in these athletes' legs.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, we are getting close now towards the end. We're in the last sort of 12k or so of this bike. But one of the other interesting gaps that we've got there to keep an eye on is that gap back from Julie Derron in 4th to Georgia Taylor-Brown in 5th. So that's about 45 seconds at the moment. And we know Georgia Taylor-Brown had the better of Julie Derron in Pamplona, but I think Julie's in a better shape right now. I think she's looking fitter. I think she's looking more ready. I think she's going to put down a better run than she did in Pamplona. And she was here last year. She's one of only 5 athletes that actually raced this race last year, and she's the only person who was on the podium last year who's come back. That's got to give her some kind of confidence that she knows how to race this race. She can run fast on this course. She was one of the fastest. I think she maybe had the fastest run of the day here last year. So 45 seconds back to Georgia Taylor-Brown, like that's going to be hard to bridge that all on in and of itself. And then when she makes it, if she does make it to up to Julie Derron, she's then got to get up another 45 seconds to Kate Waugh. So it's a big task now for Georgia Taylor-Brown, and I actually am beginning to wonder whether the real question is going to be, can Julie Derron get up to Kate Waugh?
Yeah, well, we're going to find out, and that's that's the exciting part of this race. Just over 12 kilometres left until Kate Waugh and the rest of the athletes behind her make their way into T2. I think it's so nicely poised, this, Vicky. I really do. I think right now it's impossible to call where this race is going, and there are still so many unknowns when it comes to what's about to happen with the run. So yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I think this is perfectly set up for a pretty thrilling finish here in Vancouver.
Yeah, we've still got 9 athletes within 2 minutes.
Yeah, amazing.
And a lot of those girls in there are strong runners. And it's also interesting because some of them are strong runners but not always the most consistent runners. So it'll be so interesting to see who's packed their run legs or who's still maintained hold of their run legs after this pretty brutal bike course with all those hills each lap, and who's can lay down a really fast run, because I think you're going to have to be able to put down something pretty special, because Kate Waugh is now really starting to put the pressure on those girls behind her.
So just on your screen on the right hand side, you can see the race to Qatar standings if the race was to end now. That's Imo Simmonds who would still take the lead. Currently sitting, or started the day in the lead of the race to Qatar. She would finish the day in the lead of the race to Qatar. Georgia Taylor-Brown in second on 55 points. I mean, as tight as this race is, the race to Qatar is also super tight. And don't forget, more points are handed out at the final race in Qatar as well. So an awful lot of jeopardy for that big prize, big financial prize, and obviously huge kudos as well for being our next T100 world champion at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's right, and it's worth mentioning that the reason Kate Waugh wouldn't appear on that screen, on those top 5 athletes, even if she were to win the position that she's in right now, is because she's missed all the races up until this point. So even if she were to win, she can't even get into the top 5 at this point.
Yeah, it's been definitely a very different year, hasn't it, on the T100 this year? Just, I guess, also less races, but you know, the points have been shared, it seems, much more evenly around those athletes who have raced, but interestingly does knock Taylor Knibb off the standings as well. She's currently sitting in third spot, I should say, joint second and third spot with Georgia Taylor-Brown at the start of the day.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see Taylor Knibb back on the course, back on the T100 start line soon. Hopefully we see her at the next race in Dubai.
I like the little high vis numbers we've got on the shoes of Georgia Taylor-Brown there.
Yeah, the straps across the top, aren't they? They're a good little safety mechanism.
Yeah,
you should see her coming, wouldn't you?
Not sure how necessary it is on a course that's closed to cars, but there we go. Georgia making the most of the kit and looking brilliant for it with that fantastic race suit that she's sporting. New race suit for a new race. It's generally how Georgia Taylor-Brown rolls, and it's really,
like
really
a one
good
and
to
done,
see.
isn't it? Every
Absolutely
race.
Brilliant. Well, it's not just the pros who race here on the T100. Thousands of amateur athletes also are going to be taking part on the T100 across the year.
The finish. This is where it all ends. One line, one roar, one final step. Some chase seconds, some chase limits, some chase the challenge. Different journeys, same iconic course, same finish. And this is where your T100 journey begins.
Not just the 100-kilometre distance, of course, but Olympic, sprint, super sprint, relay, running races. We've really got the lot on the T100 across the whole T100 weekend. It's a fantastic event being a part of a T100, and if you want to find your race, you can scan the QR code on your screen. That will take you to t100triathlon.com/participate, and you can get the bug because, as I've said, once it hits, it's very hard to stop. So we're just getting news of a DNF in the race, and that is Lucy Byram, who was racing her first T100 race of the year, first race in general actually of the year.
She's had a rough run of things, has Lucy. She's been injured. She had a stress fracture in her hip early on in the year, and it's unfortunately that area of the body, the sort of femoral neck, femoral head, is a really difficult one to heal. We know there's lots of other athletes who've had stresses up there. Lucy Charles-Barkley's had one as well, but they can take a really long time to heal. There's not a huge amount of blood flow there, and it just takes, it's a game of patience, and it's so hard. We hear it all the time with athletes that they aren't as patient as they should be, or they find it really difficult to wait, but Lucy sort of had no choice but to take her time to get back to it. And I know she wasn't yet in peak shape. I think her swim and bike had been going pretty well. I know she'd not really done much in the way of run sessions yet, but unfortunately doesn't seem to have been able to get her way round to the end of the bike. But I'm sure we'll see her back on the circuit. She's been a really loyal sort of competitor in the T100. I think up until sort of French Riviera last year, she'd raced every single T100. So she'd been at every race she could do, and it's only really been circumstances out of her control that have taken her off the start line. So we hope we see her back here pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Lucy Byram then out of this race, but there's a really good visual representation of the athletes behind Kate Waugh. The gap has just started to actually come back a bit to the likes of Paula Findlay, Imo Simmonds and Julie Derron behind.
Yeah, I think Paula's holding pretty steady. I think Imogen roughly the same, but Julie Derron is at 52 seconds
52,
now.
yeah.
So that's really interesting, because it's either that Kate Waugh is putting down so much power at the front that it's really kind of blown Julie Derron apart a little bit, or it shows that maybe Julie put in a bit too much of a surge to get to the front in the first place, because she was the one who came across from quite a long way back, went across on her own and made it to the front and looked good at that point, looked full of riding at that point. But when Kate decided it was time to go, Julie's had no response at all and has really sort of struggled to that point. And now that gap between her and the likes of Hannah Berry and Georgia Taylor-Brown is, 40-ish seconds, maybe still 45 seconds. So Julie is holding, Julie and Georgia Taylor-Brown riding roughly the same, but the girls in front riding away.
Yeah, still a brilliant performance, I think, from Paula Findlay. I don't think I expected her to be quite so far up at this point in the race. I mean, maybe I thought the full distance race that she did only a month ago maybe would have more impact, but I think this is an incredible performance so far from Paula Findlay.
Yeah, it's a really confident performance, a really assured performance, and you know, what have her run legs got to offer us? I think it would be, wouldn't it be something for a home athlete to get on the podium here in T100 here in Vancouver? If Paula could hold on and get herself on the podium, I'm sure that'd be an incredibly welcome sight for the Canadians as she crossed that finish line. And I know there's a long way to go yet, but she's putting in a great account of herself so far today.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's your leaderboard just on the left-hand side. Kate Waugh still out in front. That gap to Paula Findlay just coming down a touch. 28 seconds at the last count. Imo Simmonds, Julie Derron, the two Swiss athletes in third and fourth. Then a minute 31 back to Hannah Berry, Georgia Taylor-Brown, minute 36. Very much still in this race. Make no mistake about that. Bianca Bogan also in there, 1:37, and Alana Siffert 1:59. Perhaps if we were going to talk about a full distance race biting, maybe this is where we talk about what's happened to Alana Siffert there, because as I say, someone who we're so used to seeing get the fastest bike split of anyone. She certainly did that back in France last year. She did that in Spain this year. She's such a phenomenal cyclist, and maybe this Vancouver race just a bridge too far for everything that she's been through, everything that's in the legs with that sort of trio of wins really that she's had on the bounce.
Can't help but feel that is probably what's going on here. I mean, you watch her prove us wrong now by running through the field, but yeah, my gut tells me that this has just been one step too far for Alanis, and this is the race where maybe her body says, enough, I need a few days off now, actually. Because I think this course actually quite suits her.
I was going to say, this is a course that would work
there's
her,
enough hills in this course, there's enough steep climbs for her to get her teeth into, really, that I would have expected to see her take advantage of that. And you know, you mentioned there that she had the fastest split on the bike course in French Riviera last year. Well, I know that both Georgia Taylor-Brown and Jess Limott, who were at the front of that race at the time, couldn't believe the speed she came past them on the hill. She caught up all the gap that they had on the hill and blew by them, and they couldn't believe how fast she came past. So we know what she can do up hills. Of course, Alpe d'Huez is nothing but a hill. I don't even think you can call it a hill. I think that's disrespectful to the mountain that is Alpe d'Huez.
It's a mountain.
It's a mountain. It is not a hill. And she absolutely tears apart the mountains, the hills, whenever she gets on them. So the fact that she is about a minute, just under 2 minutes behind now, tells me that her legs are maybe just not quite feeling it today.
Yeah. Good look at the stats there for Paula Findlay, where she ranks in terms of the swim, the bike and the run. not one of the best swimmers, I think it's fair to say, on the T100 start list, but she is a good all-round athlete, isn't she? I mean, that's obviously what you need to be as successful as Paula has been in her career. You've got to be able to pull all of those three disciplines together.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and you're right, she's not the best on the T100 circuit, but she is still a very accomplished swimmer in her own right. She raced, of course, over short course for years. I mean, you go back about 15 years and Paula was the best in the world at short course racing as well. So she really has done it all across her career. But her swim probably isn't quite on the same level as the likes of a Kate Waugh in this race, of course, who was right at the front leading it out alongside Taylor Spivey, and then the real uber swimmers in Lucy Charles Barclay and Jess Lemont.
So just over 3 kilometres to go. The bottom of your screen there, that is exactly where our athletes are on the course. A good little visual representation of the gaps between our leader, Kate Waugh, out in front. Paula Findlay, Imo Simmonds 34 seconds back. Julie Derron a little bit further back from that. We've not got long to go until the second transition zone. We're going to drop the bike, we're going to lace up the running shoes, and we're going to see what these athletes can do on 18 kilometres of, I think it's fair to say, Vicky Holland, quite difficult terrain. It's compacted gravel, which was it. I guess if you're sort of picking your dream surface, probably not exactly what you'd want, but yeah, I mean,
it wouldn't be my choice.
It's going to certainly prove a challenge for a lot of these athletes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most blisteringly fast run course, not like asphalt is, but it's, you know, it's still flat and it will still be quite entertaining, I'm sure.
Scenic as well,
Scenic.
if nothing else.
Yes, I'm just having a little look at last year's results, and Julie Derron did have the fastest run here last year, so she ran a 1:03.24 for the 18 kilometres, just a few seconds quicker than Daniela Kleiser. So she's got good pedigree on this run course, and as you said, it's hard-packed gravel, so whilst it's flat, there is still a bit of movement of that gravel underneath your feet, and so that is why it's not as fast.
There you go, that's actually a pretty good look at part of the run course. But that is also a great look from up above of Kate Waugh finishing her final lap. She's got this short little section now to go into transition. She was one of the fastest athletes in T1. 1:35, joint fastest with Lena Meisner. Let's see what she can do in this part of the course. This is the little ramp that the athletes need to go over. Needs all of your attention, I would imagine, because that's very different, or very different surface, I should say, than what they've typically been racing on.
Yeah, it
on
looks
the
like
asphalt.
it's like boarded with then maybe some carpet on top. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely just a little tricky little section at the end there to keep them all on their toes, make sure they're all alert as they head out onto the run. Just what they all want, I'm
I was
sure.
going to say, just what you want at the end
Yeah.
of a really hard 80 kilometres, but still jostling for places a little bit further back. That's Bianca Bogan just overtaking Georgia Taylor-Brown. Now is the time to file in line, to get your position, get your elbows out perhaps, and just try and get every single second that you can improve on this part of the course before we head onto the run. But it looks like Bianca Bogan has made that pass. Georgia Taylor-Brown is going to be behind, and they will also go left here, just over that little ramp section through this car park. That's a good look there.
Berry over the ramp.
Berry, yeah.
And then Bianca Bogan, followed by George Taylor-Brown. Any second now, there we go. We should get back to Kate Waugh, who is just taking her feet out of her shoes. So for those, the uninitiated, this is how you execute a transition. Bit of freewheeling, untie a shoe or unloosen a buckle. Foot on top of the shoe. Same with the other foot. And then I'm sure she'll demonstrate a wonderful flying dismount any second. I've got faith in you, Kate. Come on, don't let me down.
This is the short course athlete
This is
coming through.
This is what I want to see from the short course athlete. Leg over the top and step down.
Beautiful. Couldn't
Well
have done
done,
that much
Kate.
better.
Thank you very much.
Wow. So Kate Waugh enters transition, our 2025 T100 World Champion. Her first race back on the T100 in 2026. And this is going to be a really, really fascinating run for last year's champ. What has she got? We know she's come back from injury. We know it's not been the build-up anyone would dream of, but there we go, she's straight out.
And she left just as, there we go, she's just crossing Imo Simmonds coming in, so I thought she might even miss her. But there we go, so she's on her way out. They'll have had eyes on each other. There's Imo Simmonds in second place. So we've got the transition times up there. 32 seconds from Kate Waugh. That's what these girls have got to beat. Not sure you get any prizes for being the best in transition, just your pride.
Yeah, your pride and also a faster race time.
Yeah, well, yes, that's also true.
Which I'm sure might also result in some prizes as well. But there you go, these athletes making this part of the race look pretty easy.
Derron also in.
Just backing her bike there. Fantastic support, we should say, from lots of people down here in the transition zone. This is the place to be. This is where you get the chance to
there we go.
Get up close with the athletes.
So I was about to say, Julie Derron often doesn't put socks on, and that was reflected in that transition time. So there we go, 29 seconds for Julie Derron. So she had the fastest transition, and that was, I mean, that actually goes to show how impressive Kate was. Kate put socks on and was only 3 seconds slower, but Julie Derron, I've noticed this in every T100 she's done, she's gone without socks. And I don't know how she does that, because my feet would be torn to shreds. But she seems to be okay because she does it every single race.
Yeah. And I mean, just a quick look there at those transition times. 49 seconds for Imo Simmonds. You compare that with the 29 of Julie Derron, and
it's a big time
difference. It's a big gap. You know, that's a lot of power that you need to put down on the bike to make up that deficit.
Yeah, you think about the effort that they put in to get away from Julie Derron on the bike, and she sort of just took it out of nothing with just transition, didn't put socks on, and all of a sudden she's back up into second.
So here we go. This second group have just arrived all at once in transition. Georgia Taylor-Brown putting her running shoes on. Expect a pretty decent transition from her, coming from a short course background. Lana Siffert just made her way out onto the run course. Bianca Bogan just getting some ice down the tri-suit there just to try and cool off. Much quicker there from Georgia, I think, than what we saw in Pamplona, where she basically took a seat.
Well, that's why when you said expect a fast transition, I nearly butt in to say, Matt, have you forgotten what she did in Pamplona? I was almost angry at her in Pamplona for taking so long in transition, but definitely much quicker this time. She definitely had a bit more urgency about
different circumstances. I mean, she's not in the lead of this race. She's got a job to do here.
Yeah.
There is no time to sit on the floor as much as I'm sure she'd fancy a quick timeout. But she's got a board there. She's got the splits from someone supporting her out on course.
And what I would say is Georgia will enjoy this type of surface. She doesn't necessarily enjoy the really hard pack, the asphalt. She doesn't like running on the concrete. She much prefers sort of the more cross-country terrain, if you like. I think if this was with hills as well, it would be her ideal course. But yeah, she will enjoy this surface, and so yeah, we will keep eyes on her progress and see whether she can make up some of that deficit she's currently got to the front of the race.
So at the last count, 48 seconds the gap between Kate Waugh and Julie Derron. That is what Julie has to try and cancel out. That is essentially the task at hand for Julie Derron this afternoon. And yeah, we're going to start to get an idea. First few kilometres, we'll see what sort of shape Kate Waugh is in. I mean, at the moment, she looks in fantastic shape. 53 seconds even, the gap now that's gone up slightly at the last count. So keep your eye on that left-hand side. See how that gap comes down. But Vicky, first look at Kate Waugh running.
She looks great right now. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't look like an athlete who's coming off the back of injury, but at the same time, there is a danger that this is excitement, that this is the thrill of being back at the front of a race and just the desire, the heart to want to win. And really from 10K on is when it's going to show whether that run fitness is just lacking a little bit. But you know, with the pedigree of athlete she is, the ability she's got as a runner, she could do this. She could hold it together and she could pull off an amazing comeback victory.
It would be one of the great comebacks, I think. Certainly in the terms of recent T100 history, to be out for that long and to come back and make this sort of impression on a race would be, well, just truly remarkable and incredible. But look, let's not get carried away. We've got 18 kilometres still to go, and least of all, Kate Waugh will be getting carried away as she makes the U-turn there.
Yeah, just, very gingerly round that U-turn. But then we said it's this hard pack gravel. You don't want to slide out.
You certainly don't. And she's going to get 6 bites at the cherry because it's 6 laps here. said 6 3-kilometre laps of this course. They're going to get to know it pretty well, aren't they? They're going to perfect those turns by the end of the race.
They are, and they've just crossed paths again. So Kate Waugh going one direction, she will have passed Julie Derron first, Imo Simmonds second, and then we just saw her go past there, Paula Findlay in third. So she's getting eyes on all of her competitors now, and I'm sure she'll be just taking a little look down and a little count of how many seconds she's got. She'll know the time gap. She'll know that she's done really well in that first kilometre out to that first U-turn, and that actually she's really, if anything, extending her lead on these other girls.
I mean, this course is the ultimate out and back, right? You are going to see all of your competitors pretty much the entire lap.
Yeah.
There's not a section of this course that's kind of hidden, or where you go away from the path. It pretty much is. On the left, you're going one way. On the right, you're going the other.
I mean, there's a small section in the middle where you might not see people when you go around one side of a building, but that's basically it. You are right. They are, to all intents and purposes, out and back, keeping eyes on each other the whole way.
It's not bad rankings.
Yeah, they're all right.
Best
I'd take
swimmer,
those.
best cyclist in the field, and second best runner. Those are the sort of stats that mean you're in the position to win a T100 World Championship title.
There we go, that's Julie Derron leading Imo Simmonds in second and third place. And then a little bit further behind, I'm not sure if we'll quite get her in this camera angle, is Paula Findlay in fourth place.
3 Swiss athletes in the top 5.
Yeah. Pretty good day for the
Swiss
right now. And Alana Siffert, who we spoke about having maybe not her best day on the bike, and we were really questioning where her legs were at. She's leading the chase from that group behind. Georgia Taylor-Brown's maybe just caught up to her now, but yeah, pretty strong start to the run from Alana Siffert. Definitely not going out there with a head down in any way, shape or form. Really just still pushing on and seeing if she can get absolutely everything out of herself.
I'm really intrigued to see what happens with Alana Siffert on this run. I think with how impressive Roth was, that 2:45 marathon, I'm so intrigued to see how that translates into 18 kilometres.
Yeah, well, as you said, she's done a couple of podcasts recently. Of course, she was on Jackie Herring's podcast. She was also on the Triathlon Hour podcast, and she spoke quite a lot about her training and how that's evolved as she's so new into the sport of triathlon and what she's done to improve. And she's spoken about how it's just taken a while where she felt like she was getting beaten around, and then all of a sudden it started to come together a lot quicker. And she hasn't got the speed. So her speed is what's really letting her down still, but she can actually run really, really well over the full marathon. And so what does that mean for this distance? I'd be interested to know whether she's got that speed that she's going to need to try and get herself back up to the front.
A great look there at Julie Derron. And that very distinctive running style, also running with the gels in the hand. We've seen that, haven't we, many, many times on the T100. Not only great for nutrition, but also great for also the technique, and perhaps using them as a bit of a tool to keep herself on good form, which is what you're going to need.
It's a feedback tool, isn't it? To just have something in your hands to squeeze or to feel how the pressure.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can get some reaction from Team Derron. Greg Welch is with them now.
Well, this is very, very good timing, because I'm just looking over my shoulder right now. Kate Waugh is leading the race, and she's coming by where we're standing here with Team Derron. Mark, Julie's father, Nina's father, you must be very proud of what's going on in the race today, especially with the way that Julie rode away up into the lead.
Oh, yes, really. She had a little time lost on the swim, but she made it up on the bike. She had to let go in the end, but I hope she finds the good legs from last year and makes it up again. So let's see what happens. So I hope she can do it.
Yeah, Julie's race last year was a 1:03 on the run. It was good enough for the fastest run of the day, just in front of Daniela Kleiser. But today she's chasing down Kate Waugh, who's coming back from injury. And so too was Julie. She had a little bit of an injury last year, but how is she doing right now?
Julie is doing very well. I think she can run fast for a long time. So let's see what she can do. Go, Julie! Go, 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 go! Go, go, go!
So there goes Julie. No, that's great. No, that's called great TV, mate. Look, Julie just went by there. How did she look to you?
Very focused, very concentrated. Still a long way to go, and I think she can do something. So let's see and keep push the thumbs up.
Yeah, so as they make the pass, Julie is going to have a good look at Kate. Do you think that Julie's going to put Kate in her mind or just concentrate on her rhythm and try and get through her race?
It helps when she sees Kate in front of her, so this gives her actually a little more push to get there. I think this always helps when you see the one in front of you. So let's see what happens. So let's see, they're passing right now.
Yep, there goes Kate Waugh, and you can get yourself a little bit of a split time down there. Kate Waugh is leading the race, just gone by the transition area for the first of many laps on the run. Not only do you have Julie Derron out there, but you have Nina, your other daughter, as a pro athlete. You must be a proud daddy.
Oh yes, triathlon is kind of a family sport. We parents did it also, and everybody's living triathlon for a long time already. So we are really are complete into it. Yes.
All right, we're gonna finish up here just in a second or two, but I really want you to have a look down the road here because your daughter is approaching right now. I want to get your reaction, and Mark, if you could just give us a look and tell us exactly what you think about how Julie is looking right there.
Very focused, looking forward. She didn't lose time until now, so maybe she can pick up something and see what happens.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Look, she looked good. The biomechanics were really good, and it looks like we are on for a battle out there.
Oh, yes, very much so. I hope she can do it, see what these two are doing, see who comes after her, but I hope for at least a podium for her, so...
Well,
let's do it. So.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you very much, Team Derron. Look, nothing more can happen down here at the moment. We've seen Waugh, we've seen Derron, and we just saw an overtake from Paula Findlay to Imo Simmonds. So it's all happening down here at T2 at the moment. It's been a great day, but there is plenty of action to come.
Oh, thank you very much, Greg. Yeah, there certainly is. We all need a Julie Derron dad in our life, don't we? My word. What a fantastic person to have cheering you around.
Well, it was just a really human moment, wasn't it? You know, he's there being all professional, being interviewed about his amazing daughter, and she comes past me, can't help but yell at her. And I love that. I think that's exactly what he should be doing at that moment and what we want to see. So, yeah, lovely to see. But he is right. It's far from over. She's taken a few seconds out of Kate Waugh, so she is starting to catch.
So this is, we've just, this happened as we were doing the interview earlier. So Paula Findlay overtaking Imo Simmonds there just around that corner.
So yeah, that was the end of lap 1, and as they head out onto lap 2, Paula Findlay has moved herself up into a podium position, so she's now third out on the course. And as we keep saying, she is the sole Canadian representative today, and if she could hold on and get herself onto that podium, it would be very celebrated, I'm sure.
Incredible, yeah. A lot of great support in and amongst this part of Vancouver.
I mean, she's an incredibly popular athlete anyway, and she's built, you know, a real following for herself with her husband Eric, with their brand, that Triathlon Life, and you know, they sponsor a development team, they have a podcast and all sorts, and so for her to, you know, put these results out where her fans can really follow her and watch her highs and her lows, I think it's fair to say, with the injuries, I think would be very, very celebrated from, you know, a lot of people around the world.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Well, let's take a look back, shall we, at how this race has unfolded up until this point, how Kate Waugh has managed to get in the lead, have 47 seconds ahead of Julie Derron. And we knew she was in good form. We knew her, we knew her bike and her swim were going to be in good form. The run was the great unknown, but she's really proved to us, hasn't she, today so far, Vicky, that certainly as far as the swim goes and as far as the bike goes, she's been on fantastic form.
Yeah, she really has. Hasn't put a foot wrong so far. And 4K into the run, she's still holding pretty steady. She's had only about 5 seconds or so taken out of her by Julie Derron at the moment. And so that's nothing at this point. But of course, she's got to keep holding strong if she wants to deliver an overall win here today.
Yeah, it's this is the real test, isn't it? I mean, you were sort of saying 10 kilometres in to this 18-kilometre run. Maybe that's when the lack of recent running might start to bite. It's really going to it's really going to be fascinating to see.
Where it sort of becomes mind over matter in some point.
It's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt no matter what. And it's like, how deep can you dig, and how much do you want it, and how much can your body actually find in reserve? And that's what we'll be finding out soon enough.
Well, let's take a look back, shall we, at how the race has unfolded, because we've been racing for 2 hours 43 minutes, and it's been fairly action-packed, it has to be said. It seems a long time ago we were entering the water.
It does, yeah, and there we go. Kate Waugh went straight to the front. That white cap we saw, she led not every stroke of the swim, but a lot of it. She was right there at the front. You can see her coming out there alongside Perez Sala and Taylor Spivey, and they navigated those tricky tides pretty well. No one got swept out to sea into the Pacific, up the sand and into transition. It was the 5 of them that made it into transition together, and very quickly Kate Waugh set to work on the bike, and we thought she might get away on her own, but it wasn't to be. She had company in the likes of Imo Simmonds, and then a bit later on we saw Paula Findlay also join her at the front. Bit further behind, we had Alana Siffert and Georgia Taylor-Brown not quite having the day on the bike that we thought, whilst Julie Derron also made it to the front of the bike. And finally, Kate Waugh decided enough was enough, and she fancied a bit of a buffer coming into T2. And she came in completely solo with a gap of just over 30 seconds from Imo Simmonds behind her. Julie Derron not putting any socks on, took out a lot of the time gap that Imo Simmonds and Paula Findlay have managed to get on her on the last couple of laps. She took all that time back in transition, and as we've seen on that leaderboard on the side, she is firmly in second place at the moment.
Well, the race is on, I think it's fair to say. We heard Julie Derron's dad there say that it's going to really help Julie to have someone to chase down, someone to set the pace, and she certainly got that in the shape of Kate Waugh out in front at the moment. And don't discount some of those athletes a little bit further back. Imo Simmonds, Paula Findlay, Georgia Taylor-Brown, they are not out of this yet.
Well, I'm looking at those top 5 girls, and I'm thinking there are battles sort of all over the place.
Yeah.
You've got Kate Waugh trying to hold on to the lead. You've got Julie Derron trying to chase her down, and she is catching, albeit we're not sure if it's fast enough yet. Then you've got Paula Findlay and Imo Simmonds currently running together, battling for that 3rd place. But you've also got Georgia Taylor-Brown, who's currently running a tiny bit quicker than those two. And could she catch and get up onto the podium as well? So there's a lot of different battles and a lot of different running still to be had before we decide who's getting the medals at the end of the day.
So that will be a lapped athlete just in front there of Kate Waugh, just to make that clear. Just goes to show the just how far ahead Kate Waugh is at the moment of some of the other competitors in this field. Fantastic to see so many people cheering on our competitors here, taking a break from their Saturday strolls, Saturday bike rides, and giving a well-deserved round of applause to the likes of Kate Waugh out in front of this race. You can just see there the surface moving under Lizzie Rayner's shoes. This is a tough place to run, it has to be said. This is the sort of course perhaps that some athletes will know really, really well. They'll be used to training on compacted gravel. Ah, great throw there from Lucy. Managed to get that in the... Sorry, not Lucy, Kate. Managed to get that in the bin. Good shot.
That's an extra point if you can get the water bottles in the bin.
I think so. But yeah, some athletes are going to be used to this sort of surface, aren't they? I mean, I remember Lucy Charles Barkley talking last year about how she was used to ride
that she does all her runs on this type of surface.
Exactly,
I
and
remember
it's
that.
a surface that she really enjoys.
Yeah.
I think if you're used to doing much more of your running, perhaps on either softer ground or maybe even tarmac, then this is going to be very, very different. Julie just not quite getting the bottle there, so she's going to go without water for at least another half a lap until we get to the next aid station. And this is going to be brutal, isn't it? 6 laps on this course. I said it earlier, they're going to get used to every single
it's a lot of laps.
Gravel bit.
Yeah, they will know every stone under their foot, won't they? And yeah, it's a long way. Break 18 kilometres into laps, but you know, you've got to approach it in the way that you break it down each out and back section, just 1.5 kilometres, and then we reset, and we do another 1.5 kilometres, and we reset, and that's got to be the way you've got to approach it.
Yeah. Well, Julie Derron is approaching it pretty well. 46 seconds back from the lead and chasing Kate Waugh. Let's hear from her, shall we? Speaking earlier in the week to our team on the T100.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sorry, we can start again. It's an interesting question, so I have to think about it. Yeah, it's interesting. I always like to come back to the T100 races, and of course now I've done a few and I've had success at those races. I know there's expectations from others, but mainly the expectation is from myself to do good races, to show what I'm capable of, and to finish on the top or within the top few of the athletes. I guess you just have to take every race as it comes, do your best, and can't let the past experiences or results influence the way you approach a race. You just have to believe in yourself and do the best you can.
I think what's interesting about this race in particular was I couldn't pick a favourite from that list of on the start list. I could pick 10 or so athletes that I could make a really solid case for them getting the win today. But I don't think there was an out-and-out favourite. And that's a really interesting situation and really exciting for us, obviously, watching on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Really difficult to do that. I mean, we said it at the outset of the day that we have racing today all 3 podium athletes from the last race in Spain. We've got our reigning world champion in Kate Waugh. We've got Paula Findlay, the home favourite, and as we said, riding high mentally, definitely from her Ironman debut recently, but we didn't know how physically she would hold up. Imo Simmonds, series leader. So we knew from the outset we had all these stars to race today. And I think if I'd had to put my money on someone, I was probably still erring towards Georgia Taylor-Brown, given the performance she put out last time out. There we go, on screen as we talk about her now. But so far today, she's not quite been there. She was a bit off in the swim, a little bit off on the bike. You know, she wasn't at the front on either of those 2 disciplines, which we are used to seeing from her. And even though she's running well, she's not actually currently taking time out on the very front of the race. She's getting a bit closer to that podium, so she's now at 40 seconds behind Simmonds, but a little bit further back on Paula Findlay, who's broken away from Simmonds, and so Paula Findlay currently in 3rd. She might get up to the podium, Georgia Taylor-Brown, but yeah, so she was probably the one I was thinking might be the favourite, her and Julie Derron, but Kate Waugh at the moment really putting in an amazing performance given the injury woes. We keep talking about it, but the injury woes she's had this year to still be leading the race at this point. Yeah, there's still a long way to go, and Julie is making inroads, but this is going to be a hell of a race to the wire, I think.
I can see the little image of Julie Derron edging maybe slightly closer to Kate Waugh.
On that graphic, it's getting a tiny bit closer, isn't it?
I think it is. I mean, 36 seconds at the last count. That's definitely come down. You can see the paces there that our athletes are running at. I mean, 3:35 for Kate Waugh, 3:34 minutes per kilometre. That is super rapid. Make no mistake about that. And yeah, Julie Derron, although it looks like she's running a very similar pace to Kate Waugh, but obviously still managing to take out a little bit of time from the Brit out in front. These are quick times that we're used to seeing. We're certainly used to seeing it from Kate. We're used to seeing it from Julie as well. Oh, this is going to be one hell of a battle, I think, to the end, as we see Kate just taking on a bit of water.
That's right.
And just
discarding
trying to use
it before the end of the littering zone.
Exactly, trying to use it to cool herself down ahead of this big finish. It's a third lap of 6. Just over 11 kilometres to go until the finish. And for all that Julie is catching Kate, I think Kate still looks like she's running well. Would you agree, Vicky?
Yeah, I think there's nothing that's fallen apart in her stride so far. You know, at some point I'm almost expecting it. I don't want to expect it, but I feel like it's almost inevitable that at some point she will start to struggle a little bit, just because she won't have that muscular endurance in her legs when it comes to the run, because she's just not been able to run for virtually the entire year. But so far, still looking very good. And as we said, there's going to be a muscle memory element. There's going to be a mind over matter element. There's going to be a desperation to prove that she's still here, to remind the world of what she can do. And I think she's going to have to dig very deep into the well to find those things, as this race gets into the second half of the run, because we're now about 2.5 laps into the run. Just over 11 kilometres to the finish line. The gap is coming down that she's got back to Julie Derron, but only by about 20 seconds it's come down already. So yeah, it's gonna be really close at this rate, really, really close.
And these are the bits, I think, aren't they, of the course where it starts to hurt, right? Those turns and those corners,
Definitely.
The tighter technical areas.
Here we go. That's Julie coming past now, is it? Just coming past it. There we go. So that's the pass.
Yeah.
So we'll get a time check pretty soon as they go over a time map. But I'm not sure that was 15 seconds from her, or 16 seconds from her coming out of the turn to passing Julie Derron, in which case that gap is definitely coming down.
Yeah. Would you like to be chased by Julie Derron?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so. I think you wouldn't find a single athlete who wants to be chased by a fit and informed Julie Derron, because we saw it here last year, didn't we? And we've seen it so many times across her career. When she's in that sort of exceptional running form, this is really when she performs at her best and certainly becomes a menace to the other athletes. They will not want to see Julie behind her. And yeah, you're right, Vicky, that gap has come down to 27 seconds at the last count.
We've got about 1.5 kilometres per stretch here, and she's taken out another 5 seconds in that 1.5 kilometres. And at this rate, she will catch. It will be really close to the end, and it's going to be very interesting as to whether Kate can respond, whether she's absolutely all in at the moment, or whether there's a little bit of something that she can dig deep and find, whether it's now, whether it's, you know, right at the end of this run, because at this point it's looking very good for the Swiss athlete.
Yeah, it certainly is. She is probably the athlete you would put your money on right now if you had to, but Kate Waugh knows a thing or two about winning T100 races, and a thing or two about being a T100 world champion. Fantastic support we're seeing here in Vancouver. The race is on, the chase is on, I think it's fair to say, between Kate Waugh and Julie Derron. Kate Waugh still out in front, but that gap is coming down.
It's both a familiar and unfamiliar position for Kate Waugh. She's been at the front of races so many times, especially in the T100, but she's not used to being caught when she's at the front. When she's got to the front on the run, she's nearly always stayed there and won the race, or come second, but very narrowly right at the end of the race getting beaten. She's not used to getting caught, and right now Julie Derron is definitely running faster. And you can see on screen there it's jumping around a little bit. It's only about 2 seconds or so per kilometre. That would be bang on what we saw for that 1.5 kilometre stretch there, that it was a few seconds that Julie Derron was able to take out of Kate Waugh. But on these longer stretches of gravel now, Julie Derron will be able to see Kate Waugh in the distance, and that's such an advantage for Julie Derron, because not only will she hear that the time gap's coming down, she can physically see it. She can see where she's trying to get. She knows that's the lead motorbike.
I was going to say the motorbike is a giveaway, isn't it?
It's like the carrot, isn't it? It's dangling in front of her, and she knows she's getting close now.
But what a difference a couple of months make. If you cast your mind back to Spain, and looking at Julie on the run being overtaken by Georgia Taylor Brown, and almost being made to look a bit of a fool with the ease in which Georgia overtook her. And obviously Julie's legs did come back a bit later on in the race, but there was just that slightly weird moment where it happened. It looked like Julie
she had a
really
revival,
slowed down.
Didn't she, in
she
that
did
race?
have a revival, and it just goes to show the sort of oscillating nature of fitness across the season, and how you arrive in the right moment, in the right form.
Look, sorry to interrupt you, Matt, but look at that gap coming down now. It's difficult to tell from the camera angle because it was foreshortened the distance, but it did look like it was coming down, and 19 seconds we're getting. So from the turnaround at the far end to now, it is down to 19 seconds.
And that gap is visually represented there by the two motorbikes. Keep your eyes on that. If you can't quite pick out Julie Derron and Kate Waugh, I don't blame you.
Because there are other athletes on course.
But the bikes are a big giveaway.
They are.
A big giveaway for the athletes as well, like you say. I mean, Julie Derron will see this motorbike that we're currently on the camera of now. We'll see this ahead, and that is the thing that you want to be chasing down, like you say, the carrot.
If you're the motorbike rider with the second place athlete, do you get to go with them when they pass, and do you get to carry on being their motorbike athlete, or do you get relegated back to second? I mean,
you know what? That's only a question our director will know.
Yeah. I want to know whether you get to be, you get to overtake and be lead biker as well.
There's a race between the motorbikes and also our athletes.
I'm wondering how competitive they're allowed to be.
A race within a race.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. Look, 19 seconds. It's coming down. It is coming down.
And I would not be surprised if that's come down even further. And the next time they go across a timing map, we're going to see that down. I think that gap's down to about 15 seconds. It might even be a tiny bit less than that. But Julie Derron looks laser focused, doesn't she, on the back of Kate Waugh. She can see the target. She can sniff the target almost now.
And this is going to be another chance for Julie Derron, well, Kate Waugh, in fact, to see just how close Julie Derron is as they go around this corner section of the course. 3 kilometres each of these 6 laps.
So we're bang on halfway now.
And
so
there you
Kate
go.
Waugh goes round the corner. She's got 3 laps to go, and she's barely made it out of that triangle section as Julie Derron charges past in the other direction. And it seems like Julie's accelerating, doesn't it? It seems like the excitement, the knowledge that she knows she's going to catch to the lead really soon, sort of turbocharged her here.
I think you can see it in her running style, can't you? It's
her
almost
arm carriage,
that forward lean.
Everything looks good right now for Julie Derron.
Yeah, Kate's not doing anything wrong here. I think that's the key distinction, and important to point out. It's just that it feels like Julie Derron is on a charge.
Yeah, there's very few people in the world who can respond when Julie Derron is on a charge, but Kate Waugh could be one of them, and at her best, she absolutely is one of them. But we just don't know what version of Kate Waugh we're going to see when Julie Derron comes past, or whether she's got anything at all that she can respond with, or whether she's simply giving all she's got right now.
Well, just over 9 kilometres left of the race to go, and there you go. It's getting closer, isn't it, Vicky? My goodness me!
Oh, it is.
And they're doing this as well, right in front of the fans as well. You know, this is the place to do the overtake. It's going to be right in and amongst the crowds here.
What's interesting is I'm just looking at our data screen now, and it does look like Kate's dropped her pace by a good 5-6 seconds per kilometre. So Julie Derron holding pretty strong, holding pretty steady in the mid 330s. But Kate Waugh is now down into the 340s in her pace. So that's still fast running, but she has had a big change there, whereas Julie Derron's been able to hold firm. And I think that's the key here. When we look further back, she's still running really good time into Paula Findlay. So the gap back between Kate Waugh and Paula Findlay is at a minute 31 now. So as things stand, she's still comfortably going to end up on the podium. But how is she going to hold it together? She's already started to fade a little bit. We know she hasn't got the running in her legs. What's going to happen in this final 9K of the run?
Oh, I don't know. But we're going to find out, I think, in the next kilometre or so, as Julie Derron really does have Kate Waugh in her sights at this moment in time. It's getting closer and closer and closer, and I think She's just preparing here to do the overtake, and maybe, just maybe, this might be for the win. We'll see about that.
It's reminiscent of San Francisco last year, Julie Derron's first victory on the T100, where she breezed past Taylor Knibb, another phenomenal athlete, made her look like she really wasn't running very fast. And I think she's going to do the same again now to Kate Waugh.
So here we go then. Julie Derron right behind Kate Waugh.
There we go. A little bit of a surge, a little acceleration, and not leaving anything to chance there, was she?
No, wow.
Giving
already,
Kate no chance to respond.
Already 3 meters ahead, I think, of Kate Waugh. That is a huge surge that Julie Derron has put in. She takes the lead of this race here in Vancouver. You can see that again from the angle of the motorbike.
So there we go. She pulls wide, and you can see the cadence increase as she goes past. That's a real surge she's put in there, and that's racing instinct that she's done that. She didn't want Kate to have a chance to try and tuck in behind her. I understand why she's done it, but also we're so far out from the finish now. Still 8 kilometers to go. That kind of thing can be costly. You know, I'm not saying it's going to cost her, but putting in too much of a surge when you're that far out is occasionally a little bit risky. So Kate just taking on a little bit of fluid, hoping, I think, to stabilise that gap back to, or in front now, I should say, to Kate Waugh. Sorry, of course, Kate Waugh to Julie Derron.
So that gap just starting to eke out even further between Julie Derron, now in the lead of this T100 Vancouver race.
Yeah, I'm reckoning that's about 5 or 6 seconds now, maybe even going a little bit. Oh, and she stopped. I think that's just a stone in the chute. It's not a calf tearing. Everybody breathe. That was my first instinct there, was that, you know, something had happened and that she'd torn the calf again, and that would have been the worst possible outcome for Kate Waugh today. But don't worry, everybody, don't panic. It was just a stone.
I'm not sure we would have had the heart to watch that. That would have been a really, really tough watch, because it's been such a long road back for Kate Waugh, our T100 2025 World Champion. What an incredible debut season it was. It's such a shame that it's taken this long to see her back on a start line in 2026, but let's hear from her now on the journey back to the racing at the very front.
Yeah, I think obviously when I started the year, I was on such a learning curve, and I was learning with each race, but now I feel like I have that experience, and I want to be able to apply the experience I have and apply it to my racing and my training. When I look back at my build into Singapore, I genuinely can't fault it. I literally did 6 weeks where I had the most perfect 6-week training block I've ever had, and obviously it was almost easy to race well off the back of that. But yeah, I guess I still feel like, because I raced that race having a good training block but inexperienced, I feel like I still have more to give in terms of being able to apply experience after good blocks of training. Yeah, I just feel like obviously I picked up issues towards the end of the year as well, and I didn't feel like I could really show my full potential at the end of the year. Albeit I won the race, I still have kind of visions in my head of, I guess we're all chasing kind of the perfect triathlon in a way one day, and I would finish every race knowing that there was something that wasn't quite right, and so I guess that's the endless pursuit as a professional triathlete, that you're just chasing kind of the perfect triathlon, if that ever exists.
Oh, what a question. Yeah. Does the perfect triathlon ever exist?
Oh, it's a bit existential, that, isn't it? Yeah, I think Kate's actually hit upon something that a lot of athletes struggle with, or contemplate a lot through their careers, whether you're professional, whether you're amateur, and it's that trying to put together the very best triathlon that you can, the very best swim, bike, run. Is there ever a perfect race? And yeah, you know what, I'm not entirely sure there is, and that's part of the beauty of our sport. It's part of what keeps us coming back. There are so many elements to triathlon, so many moving parts, so many things that can impact upon any single race that it's really difficult to explain and to recognize what might be a perfect race. But it's a great desire to have, you know, to put out that perfect race, and it is what keeps you coming back, and it is what keeps the fire burning for someone like Kate, who's achieved so much already. For her to have that outlook is really good. It's not all completely outcome driven. It's about, I want to put the processes down that mean that I've done the best performance that I possibly could do. And yeah, interesting to hear her say that she thinks there's more in the tank, that she's not yet probably reached her peak, or what she feels is her peak. And hopefully a fully fit Kate, we will see that on the T100 one day soon.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. And it's really exciting back end of the season, I think, for Kate Waugh. She said this is basically the start of her season in August. So we're going to find out over the next few months, all the way up until December, exactly what sort of shape she can get into as we approach the business end of the year. And that's Paula Findlay. Good to see her running well. And let's say the only Canadian in the field. And my goodness me, if she could get on the podium, there will be cheers throughout the entirety of Vancouver.
There really would.
And well beyond.
There really would. And the only downside for Paula Findlay right now is that it looks like Georgia Taylor-Brown is now only about 10 seconds behind her. So Paula Findlay in third, Imo Simmonds in fourth, 8 seconds back, and Georgia Taylor-Brown just a couple of seconds behind her. So it looks like it might even be that we find all three of them running together pretty soon, but Georgia running a little bit quicker right now than Imo Simmonds and Paula Findlay. So it does look like we might have another change in positions pretty soon, and we might find Georgia Taylor-Brown moving into podium position. And I know that will be incredibly unpopular with the home crowd here in Canada, and then it'll be Paula's turn to respond.
Well, it's important. I mean, those positions are really critical in the race to Qatar standings. When you think about Georgia being level with Taylor-Niv on 35 points at the start of the day, I think that probably would be enough to take her above Imo Simmonds as well, who started on 42 points at the start of the day. We'll obviously do all the maths and work out what this means for them.
Someone cleverer than I will do that before us at the end of the day.
And me as well. We'll work that out and obviously bring that to you. But yeah, could be a very interesting day in the race to Qatar, as people of Vancouver enjoying their Saturday mornings. Some playing volleyball, some watching their elite hero in Paula Findlay racing around the streets of Vancouver.
I mean, imagine if you're one of the junior youth athletes that are about to race in the Super Series, the final of their Super Series that's starting right after this race finishes, and you're watching one of your heroes, one of the absolute icons of Canadian triathlon running around, currently in a podium position in this T100 race. You know, that's pretty inspirational, and that's kind of what it's all about, really, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah. There's no better way to inspire than seeing the likes of Paula Findlay, such an accomplished athlete, on your doorstep, essentially, really, yeah. Which is fantastic. So good luck here at Georgia Taylor-Brown. And she's definitely, like you say, Vicky, an athlete to watch. She's in fourth spot at the moment and chasing down that final podium place of Paula Findlay, just out in front on the top right-hand side of your screen. It's close, isn't it?
It is close, and you know, this hasn't been maybe Georgia's finest overall performance. I said it before, I don't think it was her best swim. I would have expected her to make that front pack. I would have then expected her to ride up to the front pack. Were she not there already? And she wasn't quite able to do that today. And while she's running really well at the moment, and she's got eyes on Paula Findlay, and she will definitely have designs on making it onto that podium, she's still losing time on the front of the race. And so this hasn't been maybe Georgia's best day, but I think if she could get onto the podium, I think she'd still take away a lot of positives from that. And as you quite rightly said, she would be putting herself in a good position in the race to Qatar with a strong performance.
Yeah, that is the podium place, just in front in the shape of Paula Findlay. It's going to be heartbreak if Paula does get knocked off the podium by Georgia Taylor-Brown. It really is. That was Julie Derron just flying past on the left-hand side there. We'll probably get a good view soon of Kate Waugh as well, making her way down. There you go. That is Kate on the left-hand side of your screen.
And to be fair to Kate, still looking pretty solid. I mean, yes, Julie Derron is running away from her, but Julie Derron is running away from everybody in the field. Kate Voss not the only one, and Kate's still holding a good time gap back to these girls in third and fourth at the moment. So, you know, she can take a lot of heart from that.
So Georgia Taylor-Brown really closing in here. We've had a couple of close ones, couple of closing in. Just thinking back to Kate and Julie earlier on, but this is Georgia. Yeah, this is Georgia closing in to great cheers. People trying to encourage Paula to go a little bit faster to prevent Georgia from doing the overtake, but
there we go. Georgia taking a bit of a wide line there, isn't she? So they're about to go round the corner, almost the worst place to overtake because she's going to have to go wide. So there you go. Instead, deciding to tuck in behind Paula, and I would, if I was Georgia, push on now out of that turn, and that is exactly what she's looking to do there.
That's the pass.
You know, what a respectful athlete Paula is, sort of appreciating the calibre of Georgia coming past her there. And whilst I'm sure Paula's going to give what she can for the best result she can, and for this home crowd that are cheering her on the sidelines, she'll know what she's up against in the likes of Georgia Taylor-Brown.
Fantastic support here for Paula Findlay on the shores of Vancouver. There she is. If she's got anything left in the tank, I dare say she'll expend it for this crowd who are willing her to try and get her on the podium. She's sticking with Georgia, but if you actually look, yeah, that gap has just started to edge out, hasn't it?
Camera angle was a bit tricky there, wasn't it? But, you know, Paula raced here last year. She's one of only 5 girls that are here racing today who did do this course last year, and she came 8th from that day. So, you know, right now running in 4th place, that's still a huge improvement on last year and a really strong field of athletes. So a really impressive performance that she can be incredibly pleased and proud of, I'm sure.
Yeah, certainly, in this incredible field of athletes that we've assembled here in Vancouver. Well, if you just joined us, that is the site of Paula Findlay and Georgia Taylor-Brown, currently sitting in 3rd and 4th respectively. Georgia just doing the overtake on Paula, and kind of heartbreak there for Paula Findlay, I think it has to be said. Here's another look at it, just at the far point of the course, near the transition zone. Georgia going on the inside of Paula, and a nice little tap on the back to say, go on, go forth.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've got that speed in my legs, but it's brilliant support.
You know, it's one of the really lovely things about the T100 that they've done so well, is they sort of fostered this camaraderie between the athletes. And yes, they're competitors, yes, they want to win, they want to beat each other, they want to have the best result they can have on the day. But they enjoy each other's company, and they have a nice time with each other all week, and they train with each other before the races, and they are friendly off the course as well. And it's something that I think had been missing from middle and long distance racing before the T100 came along. It's maybe a bit more in existence in short course racing because people tend to travel together a lot more, but in this distance of racing it just didn't happen. And people, you know, you made your friendships on the middle distance circuit, but that you maybe were only friends with a couple of the other athletes really, and acquaintances maybe with some of the others. But the T100 puts the athletes together in the same hotel. They are together all week long. They train together and all of these things, and they actually just had come out of it as such a tight-knit group. And stray volleyball there, nearly taking out Paula. That would make headlines, I think, wouldn't it? If the home favourite gets taken out by a volleyball. But yeah, I think it's just something that's so nice that's almost been an unintended side consequence of this tour, is that now we have athletes who just have such great respect and camaraderie with one another.
Yeah, they certainly do. And Vancouver marks the halfway point in the season in the race to Qatar.
History waits at the finish line.
There's everything to play for.
So across the season, all of our athletes competing for points, ultimately to win each race, but across the season able to add up their points. 3 best scores plus the grand final will count towards the race to Qatar, and you can see there, this is as it stands. Julie Derron would now lead the race to Qatar on 64 points, Imo Simmonds on 62, Georgia Taylor-Brown on 61. That's 3 points separating the top 3.
Yeah.
My word,
it's
what a season
close,
we're having.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we want. We want it to be as tight as possible right to the very end. And, you know, Julie Derron, as things stand, as we see there on the screen, would rocket up into first place in the race to Qatar. But first place this season, it could be. I mean, she was 2nd overall last year. She was 3rd overall in the inaugural year in 2024. So that'd be a pretty perfect trajectory, wouldn't it? 3rd to 2nd, and then maybe she could take that final step up to 1st.
Just incidentally, Kate Waugh would be in 10th place. Obviously, we're not going to go all the way down to 10 on that graphic now, but she very much, if she's able to stick with that 2nd place, she'll get some really solid points on the board in the race to Qatar, which are going to be really useful come the end of the year.
Yeah, and whilst we've mentioned it again already today, it's going to be incredibly difficult for her to win overall, because not only would she need perfect scores, she would need other athletes to falter and to not score in races, but she could still get a long way up that leaderboard, and we all know that there's great prize money involved and great prestige involved, that she could still get a long way up there, and I think there'd be a huge amount of respect for that if she could get herself even up close to the top 5 with the result missing.
Yeah, there's a lot of cash as well.
It is.
Let's not forget that.
It's a big incentive.
Total purse of $4.2 million across the year, and a pot of $725,000 on offer for each, that will be split across the top 20 of each gender come the end of the season. So yeah, as much as we've got the kudos, there's also some good cash on the line for our athletes. That was a racing Taylor Spivey just going past on the left-hand side. We spoke about her earlier, and you know, it was she's just started to edge back, didn't she, on the bike? She sort of put in a decent surge, but I think by the time she came off the bike, she was a good 4 minutes plus back. So left too much to do on the run.
Yeah,
but what a runner she is.
She is a phenomenal runner, and she just seems to come through so strongly at the end of all these races. And I have to say, I was expecting her to come through even faster maybe than she has done so far, because we've just become so used to seeing it. You sort of take for granted how impressive it is that she's able to claw back that time routinely, and I just sort of assumed she'd be able to do the same again today. And she did hint to me just this morning actually that she's maybe a little bit tired at the moment. She's looking forward to a couple of really easy days, almost like a little bit of a mid-season break that she's going to take after this race, and that maybe she's done a lot of racing over a lot of distances, and she's put down some really great results with, of course, the podium in T100 Pamplona, and then a really good short course race recently in Hamburg where she was 4th. And she's done a lot of good racing, but maybe it's just starting to grind her down a little bit, and she needs a little bit of a mid-season regeneration, a little bit of a boost. But we are, of course, still with Julie Derron at the front of the race, and look at that graphic. Current 5K pace she's on is 16:55. I don't think there's that many people in the world who can run sub 17 minutes for 5 kilometres, and here she is putting it together back to back to back.
Three and a bit.
3.5, yeah, more than 3.5 of those in a row at the end of a T100 race, and that just shows you the level of these athletes, the very best in the world.
It really is insane. It's so mind-blowing how quick they are running. And just in case you're not kind of absorbing how quick it is from seeing it on TV, because I appreciate, you know, it perhaps doesn't translate in that sense, but seeing that time on your screen there, 16:42, I mean, that is so rapid.
Yeah, it really is. And she really hasn't taken her foot off the gas, has she? She's got into first. She could have just, you know, put a little bit of a gap into Kate Waugh and maybe shut it down and gone, okay, I've got the win here, but that's absolutely not what she's doing. That gap has gone over a minute. Well, it was over a minute at the last time check, and I wouldn't be surprised if when we get the next time check, we see that it might have gone out a bit more again. Yeah, she's still pushing on, and I think we're now into the realm of, I'm going to get the best training effect I can get from this race as well. She knows she's got the win sewn up, but how much extra fitness boost can she get from going as hard as she can to the finish line?
Yeah, that gap is very comfortable now, isn't it, to Kate Waugh? 1 minute, 6 seconds. You can see there on your screen back to Kate. And I think Kate probably just about got that second place sewn up. I mean, obviously, that we're into the unknown with the lack of run training that she's been able to do. This is slightly unknown, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's 100% in the bag. She will, I'm sure, be wanting that finish line to come as soon as possible. Just one more lap, or just over one more lap anyway.
Well, that's it. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on the paces, and whilst, of course, they're sort of jumping around a little bit, and Georgia Taylor-Brown is definitely running slightly quicker than Kate on course. I don't think right now she's running quick enough to make any inroads on that second place, and Kate Waugh is not fallen apart enough for that to be an issue. And of course there's still a lap to go, and when you start to really hurt, gosh, it can really bite, and 3.5 kilometers or so, whatever Kate's got left, can feel like an absolute eternity when your body is just hanging on. But she will be desperate to get to the finish line and not lose another place.
Yeah. So just under 3 kilometers to go. This is the final lap here in Vancouver. Julie Derron has had such a solid race. When you think back to being quite far back out the swim, over 1.5 minutes back out of the swim, and then made her way through on the bike, but still had plenty of work to do. And cast your mind back to those early surges as well that she had to put in to get herself into the position of just being a minute or so back from Kate Waugh at the front. But it was, yeah, I think 50 seconds, something like that, just at the start of the run leg, and that's what she made up on Kate. And since then, she really hasn't looked back. It's been a very, very solid performance here from Julie Derron. Just over 2.5 kilometers to go. Just got a bike to contend with here, but I'm sure she'll see that in the distance, and yeah, safely ahead. But this, I mean, just in terms of the wider season context and what Julie's done here, I think this really sets her up, doesn't it, Vicky, for a fantastic second half of the season, a really solid second half of the season after a bit of a disrupted injury started 2026.
Yeah, to start with a second in Pamplona, for the first here in Vancouver. We don't want to, jinx her or whatever, but it's looking pretty good right now for a first place here. She's then got a couple of months, so we'll see her again in Dubai. And, she won in Dubai last year, of course, as well, so she's very familiar and very confident on that course. I think we could expect another good race from her there, and then it's all guns blazing into that final in Qatar, and she will be keen to keep stepping up. I said it before, she was third in 2024, she was second in 2025. There's only one way you want to go. There's only one way that trajectory is pointing, and there's only one place left for her to attain. And, she will have, I'm sure, been a little bit disappointed with Pamplona, knowing that she was in a really good position to take the win that day, and she couldn't quite deliver it, and Georgia Taylor-Brown did have the better of her on that day. Whereas this is a distance that I think historically we would have said was more suited to Julie Derron. And yeah, Julie again coming out here today and showing that no, she is one of the absolute best, if not the best in the world at this distance on her day. And it's going to take something special to beat her. She's coming for the crown.
Yeah, she is. She certainly is. Not long left to go of this run course. 6 laps. We've been speaking about how perhaps on the 6th lap you might be quite done with this part of the run course. It would not surprise me
I would
to
be
hear
thinking,
that.
just one more time. Just got to do this bit one more time.
At least you got the beautiful scenery in the background to have a look at.
Not bad. She doesn't seem to be taking too much of it in, though. There's not been too many sideways glances over to the beach and the beautiful vista of the skyline of Vancouver. But there are worse places to put yourself deep into the hurt locker, for sure.
Yeah, definitely agree. Kate just getting the support on that last little section of the course.
She doesn't look as good as she did at the start of the run, but she's still moving nicely. She absolutely hasn't fallen apart, and that was the danger here. The danger was that there came a moment where she blew, and that the time she started losing was just too big, and she ended up way down the field. There was also the worry, the question marks over how her calf would hold up. The calf seems solid and the run form seems solid. Yep, okay, Julie Derron has run away from her, but Julie Derron is rounding into peak fitness right now, peak shape. Kate's just starting her season, And this has been a really, really good performance and strong signs for what's to come.
I think that's the exciting thing, right? When you put it in the broader context of what's to come in terms of a few short course races. Obviously got 2 more T100 races still to come in the season. The season is not over yet, and you know there'll be athletes perhaps who've got injured mid-season who have now had to write off the rest of their 2026. So it's a really interesting time to be Kate Waugh, and I think we're all going to watch on with interest, aren't we, as to the sort of form that she can hit in the second half of the season. And mentally this will just be, I'm sure, such a relief, won't it, to be back here, back on form. Okay, not winning the race, but a second place at a T100 in a field of this quality after basically spending the entire season out injured. I mean, that is a result.
It's a massive result, and I think whilst there will undoubtedly be a part of her that is disappointed that she wasn't able to turn up and win on her first race back, that's, you know, the fairy tale, of course it is, and having won so many races last year and being our champion, she wanted to come back with a bang and she wanted to start the season in that way. But I think with a little bit of retrospect and a little bit of time to think about it, she will probably recognise how impressive what she's done today is and how good a sign it is for what's to come. And I think it's something that we should mention too, that she trains a lot on her own. Like she has had a couple of different coaching changes in the last few years. She's back with a previous coach now, Paula Findlay, who also coaches Taylor Spivey and Paula Findlay as well. So she's got other athletes that she knows, but she's doing a lot of that training on her own. She lives on her own. And that means there's so much time in your own head when things aren't going well. When things are going right, it's fine. But when you're in that dark place and the injury is hit and it's not going away and it's recurred, that is such a tough place to be, and it's so hard to do it all on your own. So that's even more impressive, really, that she's managed to get out here and put herself in a strong position and likely going to come home with that silver medal.
Yeah, and when you think about what she achieved last year, she did all of that in that same setup, you know, a lot of training on your own, and it's obviously proven to really work for her. You don't get to the sort of level that Kate Waugh is at and it not work, you know, so it'll be interesting to see, certainly in the future, certainly what she ends up doing for the rest of the season. We've seen someone like Georgia Taylor-Brown obviously get involved with a coaching group, and that seems to have really elevated and transformed her triathlon journey. There she is on the screen. You can just see her making her way down to that furthest part of the course, the final bend that they will have to do before they head back up towards the finish line. The last time you have to go round those cones,
such
Georgia.
a relief. Oh, it's such a relief when you do that, I tell you. You go around the final U-turn and you just think, I've just got to make it back. Just got to get back up there. And yes, okay, it's one thing if you're in a real battle at that point, when you're thinking, no, actually it's not done, I've got to race, the race is on, I've got to protect this position or chase down the next position. But Georgia's not really in that position right now. She's at 2:37 from the lead of Julie Derron. She's a minute and a quarter-ish back from Kate Waugh. It's highly unlikely she's going to be able to close that down in, 1.5 kilometres. Kate would have to be walking for that to happen. So at this point, she can just go, I've just got to make it back. I've just got to run down this beautiful seafront path, past the athletes coming the other way, and I will be on the podium again.
Yeah, try not to stop for an ice cream,
yeah.
which...
they pass the ice cream hut on the way,
yeah,
don't they?
they've now passed that 12 times,
yes,
which I think
brutal.
is torture.
That's
absolute
mean.
torture, it has to be said. But there you go. Eyes firmly focused now back on Julie Derron, going back for the last time past this aid station.
Yeah, she still looks fully focused and full of running. Absolutely no sign of fatigue from Julie Derron. I think it's going to be a very happy Julie that we see come into that finish shoot in just a few minutes' time. It's been a really, really solid performance, and I wonder where Dad is. Can we get him back on screen? Because I think he's going to be pretty delighted too.
Greg, if you can hear us, we've sent a request to go and find Julie Derron's dad.
Back.
Yeah, he's going to be screaming the house down, I'm sure, getting his daughter around those final few bends onto the blue carpet and crowning our T100 Vancouver champion in the shape of Julie Derron. So not far to go at all, just over 500 metres left. The crowds have been brilliant all day. Lots of age group athletes sticking around that might have raced in the morning, perhaps some of them picking up their race numbers ahead of their racing tomorrow. We know that the 100 kilometres happening here in Vancouver tomorrow. Lots of youth races as well. This has been a fantastic weekend of triathlon. And that's Georgia Taylor Brown, a couple of minutes back from Julie Derron. Fantastic performance from her.
Just on the side there, nice to see a lot of people just in their camping chairs, just set up for the day, having a good watch of all the races coming by. Yeah, lovely spot to spend your Saturday afternoon.
It really is. Yeah, Vancouver has delivered yet again for us on the T100, our second time coming to this part of the world, and boy do we love it. We're going to hopefully come here for many years to come.
Yeah, we are. We're confirmed, I said it earlier today, we are confirmed to be back next year in August again, and it is rated as the best competitor experience of any of our T100 races. So if you're looking for a destination holiday to do a T100 triathlon, what better place to come to?
Exactly. So Julie Derron onto the blue carpet. Just almost loses her footing there. She's going to take the sunglasses off because she wants to absorb this moment. It's been probably a truly professional performance, I think. You can say that. She's been exquisite across this race as the Vancouver skyline looms in the background and the cheers that she asks for, and she gets on the finish line. The tape goes up. Julie Derron is our T100 Vancouver champion. What an incredible performance from her, taking her third T100 win. And Vicky Holland, she's an athlete peaking at just the right time.
Oh, she really is. And there we go. She's run over and she's found Dad. That's the first person you want to see when you cross the finish line, the team, the family that are there to support you.
Wow.
She's absolutely delivered a masterclass today. Really great pacing throughout.
Doesn't she look different to Vancouver, to Spain?
I mean,
a
she
few
looked
months
like
ago.
she looked like she could have carried on going for twice the distance.
Yeah.
And I guess in a lot of ways that's what she's training to do. She's training to be brilliant at this distance. She's training to be brilliant at the full distance. And along with her coach, they've become so good at getting it right for the races that matter and for peaking at the right parts of the season. And if anybody doubted that she would be back to this level, then you know, look at her now. Absolutely brilliant performance.
Performance of the day, perhaps, if not Julie Derron, goes to Kate Waugh. What a tough 2026 it's been for the Brit. It looks like she's
got some cramp. She was like holding her arm or something there.
Yeah.
Maybe she bashed it on a barrier or something, because that's quite an odd place to be struggling with. But incredible performance for me. I think this has to be. I'll give her equal performance of the day with Julie Derron. Returning to T100 after such a long period of injury, such a tough year, back on the podium, back where she belongs. She looks absolutely spent. Kate Waugh, welcome back to T100, second place today.
Yeah, there you go. She's cradling her arm. Something has definitely happened there. We hope she's okay. We definitely don't want another injury for her.
Yeah, that would not be the way to end the day, you know, to have had all that she's gone through, the performance that she's put down, and then to end with some kind of freak injury in her arm would be absolutely bizarre.
What a nightmare.
But we will find out, I am sure, what has happened there when we interview her shortly.
Yeah, so last year's reigning champion, she's back with a bang. Fantastic to see Kate Waugh back on the podium here at a T100 race. All eyes then, focusing on Georgia Taylor Brown. Just got a few more corners to go, Georgia. She was the champion last time out in Spain, announced herself back on the T100 as a winner.
But this will be her third T100 podium in a row, of course, after second place in Qatar, first place in Pamplona, and now here third place in Vancouver. And there you go. You can see the suit with the skyline on and the gorgeous skyline in the background to match.
Few finish lines better in the world than this one. Georgia Taylor Brown rounds out the podium. She comes home in third spot. Little puff of the cheeks. I think that was quite hard work, but a smile nonetheless. And off she goes. Gets the cold towel. She deserves every bit of that. But perhaps the biggest cheers of the day are going to be reserved for this next woman to cross the finish line. Home hero Paula Findlay comes home in fourth spot.
I know she'll be slightly disappointed not to make that podium, but the smile says that she's still pretty pleased with that performance, and the crowd are delighted, as they should be, that she's put in such a strong performance. And in the end, it only came down to just over 25 seconds that Georgia Taylor-Brown had on her. It was close. She got really close to that podium.
She did. Heartbreak, you might say, for Paula Findlay, but with the crowd, with the amount of people here to support her, I don't think it will feel quite like that. So Paula Findlay coming home in 4th place, and we'll get eyes, I'm sure, on Imo Simmonds, due to come home next. There she is. So last few corners for Imo Simmonds. Again, another really strong performance from her. Back racing in 2026. A 3rd place on the Gold Coast, 7th in Spain. She's going to make it 5th, I should say, here in Vancouver. Final few high fives, perhaps from someone she knows. There we go, over the finish line. Looked like hard work, Imogen, to get over that finish line, but a hug with Paula.
When you're absolutely spent, when you're on your limit, it's amazing how sort of mal-coordinated you become. And here we go, Bianca Bogan coming in now for 6th place. She's really had a strong all-round performance today, never been too far from the front. She's hanging in that pack and was equally contributing to the work all day long on that bike pack. And another strong run to finish. I think this has been a really solid day from Bianca Bogan. She was 5th on the Gold Coast. Bit of a disappointing day in Pamplona, was 17th, but she's backed it up today with 6th place.
Yeah, she certainly has. Another really good T100 result. Make that 2 of them so far this year for her.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the series, you know. She obviously had a bit of a disappointing day in Pamplona, but she's got 2 really strong results, and if she does the whole series, she can drop that other result. And here we go, Alana Siffert, can see how heavily she's breathing as she crosses the line. So we thought it might be one race too many, didn't we, with the series of results that she's had this year, but it was by no means disgraceful, but the run legs were possibly just lacking, and maybe even the bike legs just a little bit today.
Yeah, I think she's putting a lot of effort there.
She's such a star for the future, though. We will keep our eyes on her for sure.
But today belongs to Julie Derron. I said earlier, such a professional performance, I think. She looked so strong, really, all day. But as soon as that run started, and as soon as she started chasing Kate Waugh down, you felt like there probably was only one outcome. With a Julie Derron on form, no one in triathlon wants to be chased down by an informed Julie Derron.
Yeah, well, that was it. Here we go. Taylor Spivey crossing the line. So she's going to come across the line in 8th place. She has done, as she always does, managed to make up a few positions on the run. Not quite up to the podium today. Hannah Berry, full of smiles, coming across the line in 9th place.
Brilliant smile coming in from Hannah Berry in 9th, like you say, Vicky.
Yeah, some pretty close finishing there in those packed places, from sort of Imo Simmonds in 5th down to Hannah Berry there. That's just a couple of minutes between them all. I mean, coming across the line thick and fast.
Yeah, and those points really important come the end of the season. An extra place here, extra place there can mean a bit of extra cash come Qatar at the end of the year. Fantastic view of the finish line from that drone shot. Really is a very spectacular place to go racing here in Vancouver. Let's get some reaction, shall we, from down on the ground, and hear from our race winner. Julie Derron is with Greg Welch.
All right, well, thank you very much, guys. And I tell you what, never give up. Yeah, never give up is the motto right here in Vancouver T100. This young lady got off the bike in 4th place in T2. However, she went into 2nd place in the same transition area. What a quick transition that was, and it set you up to get out onto the run course.
Yeah, you know, I'm a bit known to not wear socks on the T100 course, and that's what made the difference in transition. And then I just set off to the run, and yeah, I was flying out there. I really felt good. I knew that I had a chance to catch Kate, and I just, kept going until the finish line, and to come away with the win is amazing.
Last year you had the fastest run course time there. That was a 1:03 today. You picked up another fast run, and that was good enough for 35 points and a big share of that $275,000.
Yeah, of course. As I said before in an interview, I had so much good energy coming back here. I had so much fun here last year. I love racing in Canada, and so to come back and just feel really comfortable and happy to be here, excited to race, it just makes a difference. And yeah, it helps to execute a good race. I was joking with my dad. He accompanied me to this race, and we were joking that now I have to pay him business class to fly home. So yeah, maybe you hear it here first.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, thank you very much, Julie, and hopefully you got enough change to upgrade your uncle over here, Uncle Greg. All right, we're going to catch up with our next of our athletes right here as we wait now for Georgia Taylor Brown to come over and have a chat with us right now. So Georgia Taylor Brown, another fantastic race out there today. Great bike ride in the early part there. Well, you got up into that lead group and put yourself in a striking position early.
I nearly got to the lead group, not quite. We were close, and then, yeah, I don't know, we just had we had a big line of girls. It just became really messy and back and forth and freewheeling, and yeah, and then we were just messing around, so then we lost contact with the group, and they got going at the front and were working a lot better. So yeah, it's a bit frustrating, but that's my fault, you know. I just didn't make the right moves at the right time, but I found it really hard today.
Is it hard, you know, winning the last race in the women's series and then backing it up? Do you feel extra pressure, or is that something that you just put in the back of your mind?
No, I don't feel pressure. Obviously, I would like to win again, because it's a nice feeling to know that everything's going well. But no, I'm really happy with this performance today. The run was the best part. I mean, there's still quite a lot to work on. My swim wasn't great, my bike, but overall, yeah, it was decent. I'm happy enough. I'm not super happy, but I'm happy enough.
Okay, Georgie, we're picking up very important points today in the rankings anyway, so it's going to be enough to put yourself right up there in the top 5 as you move forward to Dubai. We don't have our second place finisher down here at the moment. Actually, we don't have Imo Simmonds down here at the moment, so we're going to have to leave it here as far as the interviews go. And congratulations again, Georgia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Greg. A couple of bits to pick up on there that really interested me. Number one, Julie's dad going home business class. I should think that's a matter of course.
Well, she's
with the amount of support he gives her, I think.
Well, I agree, but I mean, she's committed to it live on TV now, so
it happened.
She might have thought it was a joke, but she's committed to it, and I'm afraid that's binding. As far as if I was her dad, I'd be saying that is binding, and I'm going home business class, and we're just watching Daisy Davis. She's another one of our debutantes here today. She's another rookie athlete, first year, really doing full middle and long distance racing. Only 24 years old. I think today she was mostly just looking forward to testing herself out on this level, and it really is quite a strong level.
It certainly is. Let's take a look, shall we then, at the overall results so far. So Julie Derron obviously getting the win. Kate Waugh coming home in second. Georgia Taylor Brown rounding out the podium. 2 Brits there on the podium. Paula Findlay could not quite make it onto that podium, just overtaken by Georgia Taylor Brown at the end, but does take home the fastest bike split of the day. Imo Simmonds in 5th, Bianca Bogan in 6th. Alana Siffert, perhaps one race too many, was on a run of 3 race wins in a row. She has to settle for 7th today. Taylor Spivey with the fastest swim. She comes home in 8th. Then Hannah Berry and Nicole van der Kay, they round out the top 10.
Lizzie Rayner from Great Britain will be coming across the finish line.
Well, next up, we're going to be in very, very different surroundings as we look out on Vancouver. We're going to be cranking up the heat, and we're going to be heading back to the desert. Very exciting that we're going to be heading back to Dubai in just a couple of months' time. But let's get some more reaction from down on the ground. Greg Welch is with Paula Findlay.
All right, thank you very much. Our local favourite who raced Ironman distance 3 weeks ago in Lake Placid for a victory there. How's the recovery and how'd you get back up for today?
I recovered surprisingly well, and I was on the fence about doing this, but I'm really glad I did. I felt actually good, and I was able to push really hard, and I kept some high-intensity training throughout the full training, so I don't think I lost the speed completely, but this was a really competitive field, so to finish fourth was beyond what I ever expected.
Yeah, it really was. We had a series leader, we had the world champion, and we had a Paula Findlay that was actually recovered, but a Paula Findlay that was really loved by the crowd. Absolutely loved you.
Yeah, that was the biggest reason I wanted to come do this, was I knew that the crowd support would be amazing no matter where I was in the race. So to be up on the podium, contending for third, was even more exciting, and that really fed me through the transition. And I almost needed the far end to get a little break and some peace, and then I came back through and got re-energized. So yeah, it was amazing.
All right, well that's perfect. You were raising the roof out there, and good luck on your way to the race to Qatar as well. Paula Findlay from Canada. Down here at the finish line, it's electric. We're having a great old party.
Sounds good, Greg. want to come down there and get involved. Fantastic. I think the Canadians do know how to party, and they'll be doing that, I'm sure, with Paula leading the charge. So Julie Derron, 64 points. She now takes the lead of the race to Qatar standings. Imo Simmonds in second on 62 points. Georgia Taylor-Brown on 61. That's just 3 points that separate the top three. And then Alana Siffert, Bianca Bogan, all adding their oar in as well. They are part of our top 10. So time to throw it forward. Our next race, we're going to be heading down to the south of France, and it's the return of the men. So there we go. Not long to wait until we head to France. We're hearing, Vicky, that Kate Woffer's gone to see the medical team. Looked like she was holding her arm there, didn't it? I mean,
she was in a lot of pain. You could see she was wincing almost as she came down that finish area. She was holding her arm as soon as she crossed the line. So we don't know what's happened. We assume maybe she took a little fall on that loose gravel, maybe really near the end of the race. But we only hope that it's nothing serious. As we said, she's battled so hard to get back. Hopefully nothing's going to put her out of further races.
Yeah, that would be very, very disappointing were anything to come to pass with that. We'll keep you posted. Keep in touch with us on the T100 social channels. And just time to reflect, really, Vicky, on what has been a fantastic day here in Vancouver. And I think we are so nicely poised to head into the rest of the season. 3 points separating the top three across the Race to Qatar standings in the women's field.
Yeah, it couldn't have played out better, really, from that point of view. And it is always about the season-long narrative and that Race to Qatar, and the fact we've got 3 athletes so close at the top. It makes it really exciting.
It certainly does. Well, Vancouver has delivered yet again. This is our second time returning. We can't wait to come back here for many more years to come. Vicky Holland, thank you very much for your company this afternoon. As I mentioned, the Race to Qatar beautifully poised for 2 more races on the T100, I should say. From all of us here in Vancouver, have a lovely rest of your weekend. Bye for now.